Old School Pokemon here, back again with the PokeFlipz podcast, joined by my usual co-host, KetchumAllCollectibles Dan. And today we've got a special guest joining us, SKYAThatOneGuy. How are you both doing today?
Good. Doing good.
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Looking
Keeping
forward
busy
to the
over here.
weekend. Yeah. Always got that eBay live grind going. Just for everyone watching, we're going to do a Q&A as we always do. We'll probably be around for 3 hours or so till about 4:15 Eastern. Some of you guys may know SKYA is a frequenter of the chat from time to time. But for anyone who doesn't, SKYA, you want to cover what names you go by, what platforms you're on, where we can find you. I did link. What did I link? Instagram and YouTube down in the description.
Perfect. Yeah. I've been selling like 10 years, TCG player seller, over 60,000 orders on TCG player. So I've been doing it, for a pretty long time. A lot of orders fulfilled. I sell on eBay, Brett's Card Shop. I do some consignment, some PSA sales, a little bit of everything, kind of a jack of all trades. I offer some services, if you have some extra cards lying around or anything, you can fill up a box, ship them to me. A lot of people probably have some extra cards lying around that they're not doing anything with. So you can fill a box, ship them to me, and I'll get you an offer on them. And that's been working pretty well. I've been trying to fill in a gap. I know Z&G stopped doing like Consignment Plus. I've been doing that for a few people. So if you want to get cards graded and then send them to auction, you can send them to me. I'll kind of evaluate, tell you, if I think they're worth grading or not. And then I'll send them to PSA. There are some rules there. If it's under $100, I usually ask that you prepay for those cards, that type of stuff. But, jack of all trades, selling everything, and happy to help. So if anybody wants to sell anything or consign anything, feel free to reach out.
And you've actually been a big help with some of the more niche stuff. It always, what I even sent you always eludes me. I always forget exactly what it even was. But that massive binder collection that I bought a year and a half ago now, I sent you a bunch of the non-Pokemon, non-Yugioh, non-DBZ.
Yeah.
Remind me, what was it?
Vanguard. Yeah, Vanguard, okay. Magic. World of Warcraft's Vanguard, Cardfight, Buddy Fight, Y Shorts. There's quite a few things. And, we actually, I haven't told you this yet, but we actually broke a record for the most expensive PSA Vanguard card ever sold publicly on eBay. So that was pretty exciting.
Wow, another thing to add to my resume.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we together we sold the most expensive Vanguard PSA 10 on eBay. So pretty exciting stuff. And that was all thanks to you trusting me with consigning and sending them to me. So if anybody else wants that, feel free to reach out.
That's awesome. We got a record setter here, so definitely feel free to reach out if you're looking to have anything sold on consignment. SKYA.
You gotta say the details. What was the card? What was the price?
Phantom Blaster Dragon PSA 10 sold for $1,910 on eBay. The previous record was $1,600. So not a huge break, but we went over it. $300 over the most expensive record sale. So pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome.
Bless the hobby. It's just crazy how we're so wrapped up in the Pokemon space, the majority of people watching. But One Piece is doing massive things, Lorcana, Vanguard, like all these things. It's just it's wild. It's wild, and it's a little bit, in some ways it's a little bit like soothing to hear that there's money in all these other things, and in some ways it's like almost even scarier how much money is just everywhere. I don't know how or why, but somehow that almost like unsettles me at the same time. But yeah, that's awesome to hear. And that was literally, like you said, I sent SKYA a bunch of raw stuff that I knew very little to nothing about. I knew that the overall collection was like a really solid one, so I figured there had to be some bangers in there. But he decided what to grade, what to sell raw, like optimizing all of those angles, all for a very reasonable fee. So yeah, it definitely a good arrangement we got going there.
Awesome.
As always, feel free to leave your questions in the chat. I don't think I see any questions coming in. I guess where we can start, a little bit of self promo, maybe what you got going on for the weekend, whatever you guys want to chat about. I know we talked a little bit pre-stream, but Sky, if you want to start with what you've got going for the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter's doing a dance recital tomorrow. Pretty exciting. Like 150 tickets have already sold, so it's gonna be a big auditorium, big thing. Pretty excited for that. Father's Day, I'm just gonna be hanging out. No real plans. I'll have the house pretty much to myself. So that's what I'm up to. What about you guys?
Nick, how many hours will you be live of this 48 hours of weekend? We got to be talking what, like 23, 24 hours live?
I don't know if it'll quite be that much. But yeah, it'll be tonight 9 p.m., Saturday 9 p.m., and then Weedle usually does. So normally I do Friday and Saturday lives. Weedle usually does Sunday nights, but he's off at Card Party this weekend. So I'm gonna steal his Sunday night slot as well, and do 8 p.m. on Sunday. So do hang out during the day with the family, and then do the live at night, which will be good. Curious to see how Sunday nights will be. But yeah, I'm doing a whole bunch of lives this week because next week I'll be going away, so I won't be doing as many lives. Got a collection I'm going to buy in Dallas. And then over the weekend, we've got Kansas City Collecticon, which me, Walrus, and Benji will be at. I don't know if anyone else is going. I don't think I know a single other person going to Kansas City. But us three will be there. So that'll be a fun time. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm sure there'll be quite a few people there in our circle in the Collecticon planning Discord we have. It's definitely a little bit light. I don't think we have a section going. But yeah, there'll be thousands and thousands of people there. There'll be a lot of money flowing, a lot of cards to buy, a lot of cards to sell. Like I've said it many times, but I intend to make every event, every location eventually, I guess as long as they don't get cast away like Denver did. Rest in peace. But yeah, card parties this weekend too. I mean, it didn't really fit the schedule. It being Father's Day weekend, I didn't opt for it, especially having just done Orlando Collecticon a couple weeks ago. But on a long enough timeline, like I do want to eventually go to a card party. I guess Orlando and Charlotte are like my most loyal following so far. Largely because they're the most easy ones for me to travel to. I mean, Charlotte is, aside from New Jersey, that's happening for the first time this year. Charlotte's been my closest, consistent, original location, and then Orlando's right there on the East Coast as well. So, yeah, I'll probably every year just pick 3 to 5 events to go to, and eventually I'm sure I'll hit most locations. Dan is salty. It's a creator event and didn't get the invite. Overall, I would definitely say that obviously card party's more of a creator thing, influencer thing, and Collecticon's more of a vendor, more of a collector buyer, like whatever. I guess not to say that. I guess it's more like the delineation would be like more of a vendor thing versus a creator thing. Collectors definitely at both of them, but I think overall, and I guess before I say what's going on for my weekend plans, let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Overall, the way that I see it, I think I'm more fit for Collecticon. I think generally the crowds that I run with are just more likely to attend that. And again, like long enough timeline, I will go to a card party, I'm sure. But overall, I'm just more fit. What I do, the way I interact with the hobby, is more fit for a Collecticon, I think. What do you guys think on that? Do you guys see yourself going to a card party anytime, or Collecticon loyalist? What are we talking about?
I definitely want to go to a card party at some point. I will definitely make it to one of them at some point. Seems like a lot of fun. I like the idea. So for me, card party seems more so like a Worlds event where you're not like you said, Dan. It's not focused on buying and selling. It's more so just focused on just hanging out and having a good time, talking Pokemon, hanging out with everyone who's there. It seems a lot more relaxing than a Collecticon.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Along with your input, Skya, we got a question from Walrus. Where are you located? As approximate as you want to be, as approximate or specific. And then what events in your future do you see yourself hitting?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'm located in Idaho. I don't know if you can tell by the shirt, but yeah, located in Idaho, pretty far away from most events. But I'd like to make it to a Collecticon here real soon. I mean, I'll have to look at the schedule. Nothing's, I don't have anything lined up right now, locked in or anything, but definitely going to be going to a Collecticon in the near future, preferably one that Dan's at. And I mean, if Nick's there as well, that's a huge bonus. So. Yeah, that's me.
Like having seen the content that you surely have about recaps and talking about Collecticons, is there any strategy that you have worked up in your mind, or are you going to kind of wait to plan that till one gets closer? Like, would you go to vend your first one? Would you maybe dip your toes in, go hang out, maybe try to do more sourcing?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it depends on the budget, depends on what I got going on. But yeah, I want to go to one soon. I mean, I feel like I would probably go to the first one and just walk around and meet people. That's kind of the main goal, is just to meet people, be a little bit more social, hopefully get some consignments going, anything like that. But I have vended events before. I've been the only vendor at a couple of events before, so I have experience vending. And, first one would probably be just meeting people. And then, if I do go further from that, I would probably set up a vendor table, maybe have a helper with me so I can still walk the floor a little bit and still have my table managed. But that's kind of what I'm doing. No real plans on which Collecticon I'm going to go to yet, but definitely going to go to one soon for sure. So. And
we got a couple questions coming in from Greeny. So why Yu-Gi-Oh is basically the summary of the question. Why Yu-Gi-Oh? We got Retro backing that up. People talking about how dark it can be, liquidity-wise. I think we take for granted.
Sell meta, bro. Sell meta, bro. They're talking about vintage. Sell meta, bro. No, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, it was really just a location thing. Locally, there's no one that buys Yu-Gi-Oh! There's, I have big card stores, really big card stores that buy Magic and Pokemon. And a lot of people wanted to sell Yu-Gi-Oh! So I kind of just adapted to the market, and I really enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I mean, that's what I'm doing. But I'm definitely making plays in Pokemon, Lorcana, Star Wars, Magic. I'm making plays everywhere. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is definitely the mainstream of the business. I'm doing a lot of modern. I'm finding PSA plays in modern. I'm finding PSA plays in vintage, even though, it is a little dark on some cards. But, I mean, there's plenty of money to be made in everything, so...
Do you go like buy it nows only? Do you do some amount of auctions in there? I know once you step outside of Pokemon, like auctions can be fairly rough.
Yeah, for sure. No, actually, I used to do monthly eBay auctions, which was about 150, 200 PSA cards every month. I've slowed back down off that just a little bit in the past few months, but I still have plans for auctions on eBay. Probably next month I was going to send one actually in July, mid-July. So that's the plan for auctions. Buy it now. My eBay store is a little light right now. I've been focusing on TCG Player with the new direct requirements, but eBay store will have a lot of new items towards the end of the month as well. So buy it now is there. Auctions in July, and then TCG Player is always up and running. 100,000 cards listed on my TCG Player right now. It is mostly Yu-Gi-Oh, some Pokemon, some Vanguard, some a little bit of everything. Jack of all trades. So yeah.
And just for everyone's benefit, and I can't say that I'm 100% sure of this. How long have you are full-time now? And then long, like what was your journey, I guess, through that? Like how long did you side hustle it? How long have you been full-time?
Yeah, for sure. So 10 years side hustle, definitely. 2017, 2018, around then is when I really went full-time. I went and worked in Alaska in a kitchen. It was I was on an island, just middle of nowhere. Made a bunch of money, came back, and that really just started my business into a full-time thing. That was the goal, was to just make as much money as I could while I was there, bring it all home, put it all into the business, and then it's been full-time since then. So
nice. Built up that nice runway.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So you did it on an island, Nick did it on a boat, and I did it as an engineer. We all built up that. I'm actually going to make a video relatively soon about, because one common question I get, should I quit my job to do this full time? Can I quit my job to do this full time? Very personal decision. Part of the video that I made last week was laying the foundation for that whole conversation too, because it's a very different answer. Well, if you need $100,000 a year to survive, and you have no sugar mama, no other like household income coming in, it's a very different answer than if you have that, right? So it's all just personal finance being very personalized. Been a meme lately. I'm constantly talking about like too many ideas planned out, and then yeah, I'm constantly video incoming collectibles.
I mean, you finally made the finance one with your income for your household. I mean, that was pretty good. You're talking about that. You were hyping that one up for a while, you know.
That one had to be the most, like, I don't know if it was the longest duration between like teasing it and actually making it. I've probably done one. There's probably one that I talked about a year ago that I've not yet made, but that one I probably talked about it 36 times. Like between PokeFlipz, between videos, it had to be. It was crazy. I'm actually curious about this one. Whereabouts in Alaska were you, and what was your thoughts with like the day, night, I guess lightness, darkness, all that stuff?
Yeah, I was in Fognac, Alaska. It was just there were just a little island, no stores, no nothing. It was just work. I woke up and I worked and I went to bed. I worked overtime the entire time I was there, 12, 14-hour days. Didn't get a single day I was off while I was there. So I mean, Monday through Sunday and start over again. It was just work.
Wow.
I was there to make money, and that's what I did.
Who even visited? I guess it's a lot like what Nick did then. It's a lot like a ship in the middle of the ocean as well.
Yeah, Evergreen Timbers. Yeah, it was. They cut down logs, and yeah, it was. I cooked food. Honestly, that's what I did. I didn't do the tree cutting. I did the cooking. I was in the kitchen. I was like the guy right under the chef. I wasn't the chef, but I did all the prep. I did a bunch of cooking and a lot of cleaning. I took care of things. I helped run that kitchen for a group of about 50 people. So that was my job, and it was 12, 14, 16-hour days. Every day I was there. It was a lot of work. It was really good money. I found a lot of overtime opportunities. I was hungry for money. I still am. I'm hungry for money now, but I was hungry for money then, and I was just like, give me overtime. What else can I do? I was helping set things up. I was running all over the place, getting things done, making money. That was what I was doing. But yeah, it was a Fognac, Alaska. I doubt anybody's ever heard of it.
I was just gonna pull up a map to see like where, like, is that more northern?
I can try and spell it if you want. It's super awkward. Yeah.
Oh, I guessed, and then I think it pointed me to the right one.
Okay, yeah.
So it looks like.
What does Google even look like now? I'm curious.
Oh, so it's like it's not on the long tail, very southwest, but it's like it's to the east of that tail that comes off.
Yeah.
Not like super far. I mean across a little bit of ocean, but like Seward, Alaska. My wife and I did a honeymoon in Alaska, and we started up in Fairbanks, and we did like a 1-week land tour down to Anchorage, and then I think we actually sailed out of Seward though. Or Whittier maybe. Seward sounds familiar though too. I don't remember exactly. I think it was Whittier that we sailed out of. But anyways, I really enjoyed Alaska. Big on all the outdoorsy type stuff, hiking. Very, very interesting to have lived in such a remote place in Alaska like that. Boondock Games has a buddy who lives in Kenai. I think we went to the Kenai Fjords. That sounds familiar, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that sounds right. I haven't been there, but yeah.
Retro wants to know how long will he have to wait to break even on PSA 10 Dual Monsters era Ultimate Rares?
To break even? I mean, when did you buy in? I mean, what's the price points we're dealing with? I mean, I don't know. Some of them are doing really good. I just had an auction last month. I had gosh, what was it? I can't remember the exact card right now, but I had a couple PSA 10 ultis that did really well, like significant multipliers over their ungraded value. So, I mean, there's money to be made. It all just depends on what price points you're working with.
Quick one here from Garen. Question for anyone who has sold a graded pack. What's your method of shipping to the buyer? Box or bubble mailer? What size? I do exactly what I do with cards. So me personally, I do like a cardboard sandwich and then double bubble. I forget off the top of my head what size I think they fit fine in my 7x5x3 boxes. I actually have one here, but I don't have a pack here to. Oh yeah, I do have a. Yeah, I think I use. No, it's actually too tight. Maybe I use my 8x6x4 boxes. But I do a box above like $1,000. I do double bubble with cardboard up to $1,000. So just like I do with traded PSA graded cards. I know Nick. I know you graded a bunch of like PSA 8 Hidden Fates packs. How'd you ship those bad boys?
Shipped him a PWE at that point.
Oh my god. Jeez.
Just put a stamp on it. No, I went wrapped it in a few layers of bubble wrap and threw it in one of the poly mailers. Anything less than $200, I'll do wrap and bubble wrap, throw it in a poly mailer, and then anything over a couple $100, I'll do an actual box. The trouble is I don't have any small boxes that like fit it perfectly. So you gotta use a ton more bubble wrap or like the cardboard packaging so it doesn't move around in the box, and I hate doing that.
Yeah.
Do you do graded packs at all, Skya, or
it's been a long time. Yeah. I would say I personally put double bubble, put it into a bubble mailer, put it into an even bigger bubble mailer. On the graded packs, those are pretty flimsy. They're pretty big and awkward. So, I might wrap a couple layers of bubble wrap around the initial bubble mailer that I put it in, and then put that into another bubble mailer. But yeah, I'm usually more on the overprotective side. Dan might be a little bit more risky than me. Or maybe Nick even throwing things in a poly mailer. But no, I multiple layers of bubble wrap, multiple bubble mailers for sure. Yeah.
I don't have a pack in front of me, but I actually have an empty case in front of me because I shipped it not well packaged enough, and it actually. Whether it happened, I mean, I genuinely don't know whether it wasn't sealed well by PSA or whether it happened due to the way that I packed it, but it did end up cracking open a little bit, and then I just took it back, cracked it out, and I don't think I re-rolled it. I've not sent a graded pack submission in quite a while. I don't really have the plan to anytime too soon, but who knows? I mainly just try like. My bread and butter is 90% plus is just single graded slabs. So I optimize my SKUs of like packaging options for just what I generally handle. I've got like all the different sealed product English. And then when you have those oddball type things, like you don't need to have the perfect box for everything. If so, you'll just be wasting too much space carrying all the different optimal packaging solutions for each item. So you kind of just like, this is what I'm going to deal with 95% of the time. You get all the proper packaging, all the optimal stuff for that, and then you just like Frankenstein it together when you do the oddball stuff. But if PSA graded booster packs are like what you're gonna do, if that's just your niche, that's your wheelhouse, then you definitely want to explore a little bit deeper and find the optimal box size and just all the right stuff for that.
Yeah.
Sandwich bags are optimal for shipping. Sandwich bags with a non-machinable stamp and however many stamps they require. Very quickly, I just want to cover my weekend before we go off and too far of a thing. So funny quick story, just from about 2 hours ago at this point. I'm Father's Day. I'm doing a pork belly, and I think I'm gonna do it like two ways. I'm gonna do some of it just like pork belly, just a big slab of pork belly smoked basically, and then I'll do some pork belly burnt ends as well. But I want to do some tomahawk steaks. I mean, it's my day, Father's Day. I want to have a nice tomahawk ribeye, or at least part of a nice tomahawk ribeye. So Walmart's the go-to place for that naturally. So I go to Walmart. They don't have my tomahawk ribeyes. Very upsetting. I'm gonna have to make an additional trip to a different store at some point to get that. But it's funny because on the way out, I was actually going to my car. I was loading stuff up, and I just hear this cart coming, and I'm like, that's coming kind of fast. I'm like, is there a person in that or attached to that? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I glance back as it like, I think I parked one space away from the corral, the cart return thing. Some woman, 30s maybe, 40, I don't know, from like 50 feet away, she just like pushed. She was just like, it was like a slight downhill to me and to the corral. She just like YOLO'd it, and had it not hit, it probably caught by like caught by less than a foot. I don't know exactly how much it caught by, but so it hit the side. It hit, basically she hit the rim, and that prevented me from being like ran over by a car or the side of my car just getting smashed by one. I'm thinking, first thing I think in my head as I see it happening, because I haven't looked to see who it was yet. I'm like, what is Nick doing in my town? What is Nick doing in my town? We're live in an hour and a half. He's not going to make it home in time. No, but I look back and I'm like, are you serious? That's all. I just raised my voice and said that a little bit. I don't even know if she heard me, but literally like what seemed like a 34-year-old woman just YOLO'd a cart from 50 feet away, turned and ran to her car. Like, I never seen that before. I figured the whole history, the whole conversation we've had with the carts, it was an interesting little story to share. But that was a first for me. I never saw that happen.
she's one up in Nick over here. She's just straight Kobe-ing it from far away, man. You got to step your game up, Nick.
I see this question here. Who would win in the basketball 1v1 between OSP and Dan? I mean, that woman definitely would have been an OSP fan. She definitely would have chose him here. I think I'd have him, not for talent, just for pure genetics, just for the height that I've lucked into.
Oh, you'd 100% win. I think good basketball.
OSP wouldn't have missed. OSP would have had a nice clean swish right into the corral.
I never thought of that. It's like shuffleboard.
Yeah. Walrus says, "Oh wait, hold on, Mr. Walrus. PWCC rates are hard. Just ask." So just before we went live, I also sent him a little graphic that I want made up, demonstrating like how much you'll get if you sell through me. I actually have. I guess I'll do a little bit of self promo here. Thanks for the segue, Mr. Walrus. I have my first PWCC monthly filter feature collection up for auction right now on PWCC, and I'm always one that will be completely open, honest, transparent. I hate buyer's premium. I said that before I was working with PWCC. I'll say it the whole time I'm working with them. I wish you would just pay a price and then you would net a certain portion of that. I actually, while the eBay vault was still a thing, I was complaining about the fact that we were going to get a 3% buyer's premium instead of a 3% selling fee, because the amount of people, just in the few Instagram posts and stories that I've shared, the amount of people that reach out to me like, hey, I have this card, how much will I get? Is your payout a percentage of hammer, or is it a percentage of the whole price hammer plus buyer's premium? And then people will ask me too, like, oh, hey, well, I have a card I think I'll sell for 500. PWCC pays 108% or 100, whatever the percentage is, I forget. It's just so annoying. It's so convoluted. It's so obfuscated is the word that I like to use in these situations. I hate buyer's premium, and the amount of complexity that it brings to it is just so frustrating. I wish that was never a thing, but auction houses, that's just the way they go. So we'll probably never get away from it. But yeah, simplified, I pay more than PWCC will pay you for any card above $100. That's like the simplified version. If you want to see the longer version, await my Mr. Walrus PWCC rates are hard. Just ask graphic that is currently underway. Maybe while we speak, I don't know. I thankfully, well, I mean, I guess it didn't hit the car anyways, but I mean, if she had missed it, would have hit me and or the car. But I did not have the new Kia. I had the old Kia. So I guess it would have been a silver lining that at least it was only a 2-year-old car instead of a 2-day-old car getting hit, had it been hit. I knew if Brad was here. Brad loves it when I say obfuscate. I think it's a very solid word.
It's the only big word you know. That's why you use it so much.
The amount of times that I use it, clearly, it's one that I get stuck leaning on because, yeah. I saw it as my word of the day one time, and it just stuck. Oh, here we go. You probably sold her a PSA 10 Jungle Eevee during the boom. I didn't think about that. Maybe it was targeted. Like maybe that was
maybe
that was targeted. Oh man, that's funny. Oh, Walrus never gonna let it go. PK was ranting about it last night too, multiple times. Nick for sure hits cars in parking lots and says, "Oh gosh," and giggles. Oh man, that's too good. That's too good. Anyways, I figured I just had to share that little anecdote because I thought it fit so well with what we've got going on here. And I guess we used to ask it to guess, and I think we got away from that. Skya, do you put your card away when you're done with it?
I put my card away.
You're not a job creator. You hate
No.
not having gainful employment. Come on.
No, I put my card away, and if there's another nearby, I might correct it in there. I mean, that's how I was raised. That's what I do. I mean, that's that's just how it is for me.
That way too, right? My kids will definitely be there. There's Nick. There's my co-host. There's my friend. But do not follow him on this whole card thing. Do not go down that dark path. The ultimate litmus test of if people can be a helpful member of society, and Nick cannot. Oh no, I see we got Dan Felix with a question following up on Mr. Walrus's comment. But before we lose this other one, Mr. Pokedragon wanted to know how many different printings of the OG Blue Eyes are there?
Different printings? A lot. Way too many. I mean, what are we talking? Like just the OG artwork? I mean, it's probably been reprinted dozens of times. Yeah, quite a few. I mean, depends on what you're really specifically looking for. If you're talking like the SM51 OG Ultimate Rare, like that's, I mean, there's no real reprints of that. It's the only Ultimate Rare we have in the TCG is the YSYR one. I know Retro was saying there's no Ultimates in the TCG. The only one we have is YSYR, and it's not the same artwork. So I mean, it depends on, narrow it down a little bit more. Are you talking about just the original artwork? If you're talking about any artwork, I mean, just the original artwork, I'm sure there's at least a few dozen between the OCG and the TCG. So quite a few.
Yeah, that's like knowing almost nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh! One thing that my mind immediately goes to is that they reprint everything all the time, and I know I've had a couple Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards come in when I'm buying a big collection or whatever, and I don't think, like, the one thing I do like about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that in Pokemon you can search like 4 out of 102 and you get the base Charizard, but you also might get other cards from other sets. Whereas in Yu-Gi-Oh! You have like MRD-001. I could be wrong here, but will there ever be 2 or more cards that have the same exact code? Or is each code like 100% infallible, I guess? And will that always get you to a unique card?
The code is amazing. It's one of the best things about Yu-Gi-Oh! I love it. It makes searching up prices and everything just infinitely easier. I wish all the TCGs used it. There are a few very niche scenarios where the code will bring up 2 different versions of the same card. Rarity collection, the code will bring up the card that you need, but there will be 4 different printings of that card in that set. So you could get the Ultimate Rare, the Super Rare, the Secret Rare, the different printings, but it's going to narrow it down extremely. You're only going to get that card, and that's one of the rare cases. There's a few very niche sets where, like, starter deck sets where, like, you can get a holo Blue Eyes or a non-holo Blue Eyes, and those both have the same set code, but 99% of the time that set code is going to lead you to exactly what you want. So that's one of my favorite things about Yu-Gi-Oh! For sure.
Is it always going to I guess where the code leads you to one of 4 variants? Is it always going to be a holo thing, or will it be like this one has a gold title, this one has a black title, this one has, or will it be like various things? Yeah,
no, it's always, as far as I'm aware, I mean, there's a lot of cards out there. It could be something I'm forgetting, but it's always, a different variation of the holographic pattern. So it could be a super rare, ultra rare, secret rare, prismatic ultimate, collector's rare. Battle pack has the star foil. It's usually going to be, there will be either a non-foil or a foil one, and then an extremely niche situation of rarity collection, the newer set. There's 4 different printings in that set, so that one can get pretty confusing because, I mean, dealing with 4 different versions of the same card. But it's only rarity collection. Every other set, it's like, either non-holo or holo. So it's pretty streamlined. It's pretty easy to understand for sure.
Yeah. And Grammar wanted to know, do both Dark Paladin variants have the same code?
The MFC ones, if that's what we're talking about, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, both MFC, the original and the one that the corrected artwork. That's the word for it. Yeah, they both have the same set code. I'm like 99% sure. I could do a quick Google search to be sure, but I'm like 99% sure those do have the same set code.
And I know very little about Yu-Gi-Oh, but one thing I did learn too that I guess I wasn't thinking about as I asked, but like wavy versus glossy Legend of Blue Eyes. I learned what that was, how to distinguish it. I think so, but I actually had a consignor send in some pretty high-end LOB cards, and I sold some Exodia pieces that were wavy and glossy, and I forget which one is like slightly more desirable, but if I need to have one of each. Like if I have 5 that are all wavy or 5 that are all glossy, I probably couldn't tell you. But if I had one of each or like 6 of them with one, and then I would be like, okay, I remember now this one's wavy, these ones are glossy.
Yeah, there's some really detailed posts from Gezi, one of the big guys in Yu-Gi-Oh. He actually works for PSA now. He didn't when he made these, but he made like a bunch of spreadsheets and stuff that can, I mean, extremely detailed with pictures. It can tell you wavy, glossy, 1.5 print, 2 print, 2004 print. He breaks it down in extreme detail, but yeah, wavy is more expensive than glossy, much more popular. And yeah, I followed those auctions you did. They did pretty well, and you did pretty good job differentiating wavy and glossy and everything. So pretty cool. Hopefully, your Yu-Gi-Oh consigners, they'll give me a shot in the future. But yeah, no, I mean, it was really cool. I never thought I'd see wavy versus glossy on Dan's Instagram, but yeah, really cool to see that.
I didn't think I would either, but Mr. Walrus jumping at the opportunity to stir the drama pot a little bit. So I did recently sell a fairly contentious card. I assuming you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Blue Eyes Wizards test print thing, certified by CGC. It would not be certified by other companies. Potentially other selling platforms wouldn't take it. eBay took it. CGC authenticated it. It passed authenticity guarantee where they just verify, yep, CGC actually did slab this. Do you have any like drastic opinion on that? And then we'll hear yours, and then I'll just give my take on that whole thing.
Dan's trying to get me canceled.
No, like, and speak freely. I will not be offended by it. Like I have my own personal stance. Some people like. I think anything that has some amount of logic behind it, anything that is like coherently and respectfully delivered is perfectly fine. And I think some of that went on a few weeks ago when I auctioned it, and some stuff that like stepped over beyond reasonable and respectful went on as well.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of drama following those cards. There's a lot of people that are really opinionated. Some people really very strongly disagree with it. Some people are adamant that they're fake. Some people think they should never be sold. I agree with Dan. I think, if CGC chose to put it in plastic, I think it makes no sense why he can't sell it. I don't understand why. There's a lot of people out there saying a lot of really mean stuff about it, and it's a little ridiculous. Yu-Gi-Oh can be really frustrating. We've got a younger audience than Pokemon, I imagine. We've got, it's a gray area. I mean, I think selling it is perfectly fine. Do I think it's a real card? Do I think, any of that? I'm not sure. Gezi's done a ton of research. I mean, I got to pretty much agree with Gezi on if it's authentic or not. But, I mean, it's in a CGC slab. I see no reason why can't you sell it? If somebody wants it, it's still a part of history. It's still, it's still really cool Yu-Gi-Oh collectible. And I think you should be allowed to sell it. I think that's perfectly fine. Whether it's authentic or not, whether, who cares? I don't know. I mean, it's CGC put it in a slab. If they want to go back and say it's not authentic, then they should deactivate the cert. They should make an announcement about it. But if not, it's in a CGC slab. Sell it. I mean, I see no problem with it. So that's my put.
And I think I'll tie in some like Pokemon analogies. I'm primarily a Pokemon guy. Nick's primarily a Pokemon guy. The vast majority of people watching probably are. But yeah, so for anyone unaware, like I had on consignment a test print Magic Wizards, whatever it was called exactly, Blue Eyes White Dragon without the name. Like there's so many different variants of it. the way that I see it personally, and I tried doing due diligence, so much of it just went over my head, to be quite honest. Like, I would consider myself to have quite a bit of expertise in Pokemon. I wouldn't say I'm universally a Pokemon expert on everything Pokemon, but I'm quite experienced with it. Yu-Gi-Oh! I am not. So I will sell Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I will sell Vanguard cards. I will sell sports cards. I will lean on the industry experts, CGC, BGS, PSA. If they authenticate it, and especially so, like I put PSA and CGC, I put PSA as the ultimate tier, but I put CGC as the next tier. The main reason because they financially back it. Throughout the whole process, had CGC deactivated the cert, I would have canceled the listing. And CGC's been pressed on this too, so they have the financial backing for it. Like, my opinion is, I do not have enough expertise or knowledge to know. I tried reading, and that was one big point of contention too. A lot of the research that was done by the consignor himself, and he was sharing it on Instagram, and I was sharing his article. Some amount of that, how much of that went into what CGC used to actually certify it, to call it authentic? I don't know how much of it was that and how much of it was otherwise. Like, I don't have a direct line with CGC. I didn't have the ability to, like, talk to whoever put their stamp on that card. But yeah, to me, like, I'm not going to ever put myself above a grading card company, especially if they have a financial guarantee. So I guess the only exception to that would be that if I had information, like say the consignor was saying something to me where he knew that he like pulled one over, or that was not the case, but like had that ever been the case, I would not be involved in any of that kind of stuff, and I would remove myself from that. But in this instance, it's like you have people over here saying it's real, you have people over here saying it's not, but you have this third party, unbiased party that is backing it with money. So I'm gonna lean that way personally. That's the way that I go. Deactivate the cert for this podcast.
Your chat is savage.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been keeping up, but I'll have to roll through. Question for chat: What other fake cards are you selling? Anything that is inside of a CGC slab, sealed by them. Anything that is inside of CGC, BGS, PSA. I will sell any of those cards for you, even if some other people think they're fake. As long as CGC backs it up. I was gonna go somewhere else with that too. Oh yeah, so like, I don't even know. Like a lot of times, what happens when there's a breakdown and like there's two people fighting, arguing over one thing. Not to bring any like majorly inflammatory real life topics into this conversation, but a lot of times when someone is pro this and someone is anti this, they usually just like mudslinging, fighting each other. I'm right, you're wrong. They don't try to come to a mutual understanding on where they differ. And I genuinely don't know because I couldn't have a rational conversation with some of the people I tried having to on the other side. I don't know where the disagreement is entirely. I genuinely, I don't know enough about Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm too dumb. Maybe I don't know. But just to bring it back into Pokemon, like quickly or slowly if you want to. What are your two thoughts on the two cards that feel analogous? Maybe they're not analogous. Maybe I'm wrong. Pre-release Raichu and Protostoys. What are your two thoughts on those cards? Because I feel like those are our best analogies in Pokemon.
Who are you asking?
Both of you two. Whoever wants to go first.
I don't know enough about those cards that you just mentioned.
I agree. I think it's the same thing you're saying. If we're never going to get to a point where everyone agrees that they're real or they're fake or whatever. But if one of the big three grading companies, PSA, CGC, is willing to put their name behind that card, and have a financial, so I guess PSA or CGC in that case, and have that financial guarantee, it's up to the person buying that card to say, okay, do I trust CGC's opinion on them claiming that the card is real? Is there enough research behind it that I think the card is real? People can buy it or not buy it. If you don't think it's real, don't buy it. But that doesn't mean other people have to agree with you. That's how I see it.
We're talking about the Blastoise that's on the Magic Uncut sheet? Is that what we're talking about?
There's like,
Or what?
again, I think I'm expert in a fair few things Pokemon, but I'm by no means an expert on the Protostoys. I think there's at least 3 different variants. I want to say that there's a couple magic-backed ones. I want to say there's a couple like blank-backed ones. And maybe another reasonable analogy would be like the 4-position only cards or the match print cards. And I don't know how much I know Nick probably knows a fair bit about those because he's been around in Pokemon as deep as I have for even longer than I have. And a lot of those came through Rusty.
Yeah, I've seen Rusty rip open some of those. Yeah.
And some companies will slab those and some companies won't. I know with the pre-release Raichu, PSA would not, and CGC would, which I think further strengthens the analogy of this card to, and because a lot of the information that comes from the pre-release Raichu is from people who have financial motive, people who own it. Naturally, the people that were involved in production are the people that ended up owning it, and I understand the potential bias there and the conflict with their direct financial incentive on it. But let's not kid ourselves. Like, so many things in this hobby are built upon that sole thing. Like, if you want to invalidate everything that the consignor says about his card, who he had a third party agree to certify, and then also financially back it, I mean, there's so many things in this hobby that we can talk about that are really questionable in similar ways. Like PSA having the ability to just collect more money for the same service if they give you a higher grade and upcharge. Like there's just a lot of potential conflicts and a lot of potential issues on certain things. Like I understand. So what I'm trying to say is I understand the concerns that people were raising, but I didn't see convincing evidence that it was fake. CGC has seen everything that I've seen and more, and they got to hold the card raw, and they're putting their money behind it. So I understand the concerns, but I also felt very comfortable consigning that card. So if you have very hot topic, highly contentious cards that you want to sell, as long as they're certified by someone, as long as they're certified and backed by someone, I mean, I'll sell them.
Yeah.
I know people similarly got really fiery over the pre-release Raichu, and to be honest, like wrapping this all up, I guess, I'm not a big fan of the pre-release Raichu. I'm not a big fan of the match print cards. I'm not a big fan of the 4-position only cards. I like cards that are intended for release. Like this whole real versus fake, it truly is a spectrum of sorts. I mean, the fakest of the fake cards are quite obvious. You buy the 100 flash card lots on eBay that come straight from China. Why eBay allows those listings to stand for as long as they do, no one will ever know. But like those are the fakest of the fake. Some of the cards didn't even exist, like Caterpie EX, Charizard I have from decades ago. Some of the like well-known fakes. I think the Caterpie EX is like a picture of a Blastoise too. So there are some really weird, like high print run, well-known fakes out there. And then the more, I guess the most real card, you go to Walmart, you buy an Evolving Skies pack, you pull a Moonbreon. That's one of the most real cards out there, right? Like it's sold by the Pokemon Center. It's sold through all the distributors. Anyone has access. Everyone has access. And in between, somewhere in the middle, you've got your Protostoises, you've got your match print. And I have my own delineation of like what is real enough for me, what I value, what I enjoy, what I like the idea of. And I have my line in the sand where like this stuff just doesn't do it for me. The market values it more than I do. So it is what it is, I guess, is what it comes down to. Let me catch up with chat.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that for sure. Yeah, I've had a few niche card like that come through. Like I had a PSA 10 sample Summon Skull Yu-Gi-Oh card come through, and it was really cool. But the market valued it way higher than I did, and you know, I just sold into it. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand all the people around the card you can sign. It's just wild, honestly. But whatever, you know.
It's actually so funny how many analogs there are between the Pokemon space and the Stein space. Having gone to that show a few months ago, and I made a video on it. That was a really fun experience. It had been a couple years, and the same like modern versus vintage. I actually I have like almost the closest analogy that we'd have to this Yu-Gi-Oh test print card. I have one of those, and it is of such unknown like validity. So basically, they make their steins in China now. It's a stein of a pumpkin. It's a Halloween stein, and on the bottom, it doesn't have the normal markings. It has like Chinese characters inscribed into the ceramic itself. So like pre-production, before being fired in, I don't know exactly how steins are made, but I'm assuming at some point they're like fired in a kiln or whatever. So it actually has, and some people were like, oh, that's nothing. That's not worth anything. That's almost like a fake thing. And then other people were making me offers like, oh, that's really cool. And the fact that some people get mad that other people value these things, it's just so weird. I don't know. It gets so weird. But it is what it is. Garbage time. And anyone in chat, feel free to save us with your questions. We will pivot away from the Yu-Gi-Oh drama that Walrus roped us into. Thank you, Walrus, for that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Walrus.
It was a very timely discussion. We have one of our foremost Yu-Gi-Oh experts we've ever had on the podcast, and it's a recent thing, so we may as well talk about it. Might as well address the elephant in the room.
This is true. This is true.
Oh, let's see.
There's a few good ones earlier up in the chat that you missed. I don't know. Retrospec was saying he's going to send me some SDK Blue Eyes, and I'm pretty sure he's trolling, but SDK Blue Eyes is print money, dude. I don't know. I'm just saying, you can send me all the SDKs you want. I'm just saying.
Hit him up. Slide into those DMs. You got his Instagram. You got his YouTube in the description.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any other questions. I think I have them all. Surprised Dan isn't fence sitting for once. I feel like my answer was kind of fence sitting. I don't know. Imagine being
that was a hard stand for you.
I mean, I'm fence sitting on whether the card's real or not. Like I genuinely don't know, but someone who knows better than me, with better technology, better equipment than me, determined that to them they were. So I'm going to accept their opinion is where I'm at. So I guess I'm off the fence with respect to that, but I'm on the fence about I have no clue if the card is real or not.
That's just because you don't know Yu-Gi-Oh. But selling it, you're completely off the fence.
But even Pokemon, are match print cards real? I would say no. But I would contextualize with that with they're more real than Chinese flashcards on eBay. They're more real, like on that spectrum of realness. They're more real than some things, but they're a lot less real than the 99.9% of cards in Pokemon. And I just don't like them for that reason. They're saved from the shredder. Like I'm one who like doesn't care about, and it's kind of weird to say. Like I don't care about test print things. I don't care about errors. I don't care. I just want what was the intended release product. I want the intended release product that I interacted with when I was younger, and the intended release product of today. I guess I do like the trophy cards, which those are an intended release. They're a more specialized release. But the Protostoice doesn't do it for me. Especially, I'm way too broke for it anyway, so it works out well. Maybe that's just copium because I'm so broke. It's copium that I don't like the Protostoice, that I don't like the pre-release Raichu because I'm too broke for them anyways. Anyways, let's.
There was Walrus had. Well, there was a couple questions. Walrus said favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card, and then somebody else asked about waifus. If there's waifus in Yu-Gi-Oh, I can kind of answer both of those in one go if you want. It was up in chat a ways. I don't know if you'll find it, but yeah, Walrus said favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card. For me, it's actually a Dark Magician Girl, which is a waifu, but it's not for the reasons you think. My first PSA submission, I think it was 2016, maybe 2015, quite a while ago now. I graded a PSA 10 Dark Magician Girl MFC First Edition, which is the most expensive one. And to me, that was a big deal. Like that, I sold it for $8,000, which to me was a lot of money in 2016, 2017, whenever I sold it. And it actually, I really wanted to take my partner to Disneyland, so we we took that money from the Dark Magician Girl and we went to Disneyland, dude. That was what got me into the graded market completely. What got me into a lot of things, and it was the waifu that saved the day. So yeah, yes, there's waifu in Yu-Gi-Oh, and Dark Magician Girl is my favorite because she took my family to Disneyland. So that's where I'm at with those two questions.
She goes to I think the voice actress goes to Collecticons, right?
Yeah,
Isn't she the one that does Nurse Joy.
Yeah, yep, really cool. Yeah, I've had a few cards. Somebody else got them signed for me while they were there, and that they shipped them to me. I sold them on eBay, and yeah, printing money, did really good. Yeah.
Okay, I got a bunch of stars piling up. I couldn't find that one by Walrus.
It was way a ways ago when you were still on the shopping cart talk. It was a while back.
The way back. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Walrus, for missing that one. So let me start grabbing some of these. So we're on the spicy topics. We might as well go right in. Dan Felix, what are your views on card cleaning before submitting them to grade? What are each of your practices? I'm amazed with what Kurt's Card Care products can achieve. Have you used their products before? Nick, why don't you start?
Oh God. Yeah. So the coming from coins. Cleaning's a no-go. So I'm on that stance. Now you can it's not really cleaning, but it's getting like dirt off the coin. Not like the toning, but just like physical dirt. You can do that type of stuff to make it look a little bit nicer. And that is typically accepted and fine in coins. But then actually using like chemicals to dip your coins and remove physical toning to make them look brighter, that is a no-go. And that devalues coins. And for me, the same thing is true with cards. If you're going to use water to wipe off dirt on the back of the card, that is fine. Totally fine. Water is not a chemical, despite what some people want you to believe. But if you're going to use this Kurt's Card Care or whatever stuff to physically remove scratches, it's the same as using a blue Sharpie on the back of the card. It's not as noticeable to PSA, but it's the exact same thing. What are the long-term effects of this stuff? Sure, it makes the card look nice now, but what's going to happen in 10, 20, 30 years from now? Are those scratches going to start coming back up? Is the card going to start to get damaged because of that chemical? We don't know what's going to happen there. And I find it hard to believe that nothing will ever happen. I don't like it. I really hope CDC and PSA start cracking down on this, figure out a way to crack down on this. Because in my opinion, you're just being deceitful if you're cleaning cards like this and sending them into grading and not specifying that when you go to sell them, not specifying that, hey, this card was damaged before. It would have gotten a 6, but I cleaned it and now it's a 10. I don't like the idea of that at all. And not anything against you, Dan. I'm saying generally, not you personally. Whoever asked Dan something.
What do you think, Sky?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to do huge cleaning on cards. I think the most I've ever done is a microfiber and a little drop of water. So that's it's about the most experience I have with that. It's interesting. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Kurt's Care product thing. I mean, if you can dunk a card and submerge it in water, that's a little concerning to me. I mean, submerge it in whatever cleaning chemicals they use. I don't know that whole video that happened, but it's a little concerning to me. I mean, that's not the part of the hobby that I play into. I'm not the guy to crack and resub a card 10 times. I'm not the guy to clean up a card. I find a clean card and I'll get it graded for you. You know, that's what I'm going to do. So it doesn't apply to me very much. It's interesting to talk about, though.
Yeah, I have an 2-hour-long live stream where I tried having this conversation. I'll be as succinct as possible. So I think it's fine to remove anything that wasn't originally intended to be there. So sometimes when you pack pull a card, you can physically wipe away with your finger a white dot on the corner that's actually just like extra card from the corner rounding process. So if you're removing something that shouldn't have been there, fair game. Whether that's a fingerprint, whether that's dust, whether that's a little bit of extra card that shouldn't have been there. Whether that's like, I believe I've heard Retro use the term like schmutz. If you're removing some dirt, some grime, some whatever stuff that got on there in the 20, 30 years since production, if you're getting rid of that, fair game. And you can't add anything that will stay that wasn't originally there. So if you're adding something that's filling in scratches, bad news. If you're adding some kind of a solvent that is just used to remove debris that shouldn't be there, that's fair game with me. If it's some kind of a solvent like water or like, I mean, I don't use these. So all I've ever used is water or saliva. That's all I've ever used, which are the stamp of approval by Nat Turner himself. But like, to me, if you're using a little bit of IPA or ethanol or something like that, not IPA is like the ones that I drink, isopropyl alcohol. If you're using something like that on a Q-tip that's not going to stay there's functionally no difference than using spit or water or using one of those things. So, and then Walrus brings up the thing like, oh, should you be allowed to physically alter a card, rip it, fold it, crinkle it? I don't know. That whole PSA 1 play that exists, it's a crazy, silly hobby. I think you can do whatever you want to your property. The second that you start sending it into a third-party company, though, like you can't attempt to defraud them. You can't like break their rules. In a perfect world, their rules would be more clear, but they've made it like slightly clear, but mostly murky on what they allow and what they don't allow. I've never heard them say that you can't intentionally rub a card on concrete to get a PSA 1. So I think that's fair game. PSA 1's paid my rent. Chill.
I've sold some crazy PSA 1s, bro. Market's insane.
I've sold several PSA 1s in excess of PSA 9 prices.
Yeah.
Quicker than a PSA 9 would have sold too. It's
same. Yeah.
It's a wild world we live in.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your question, Dan Felix. And I know Nick touched on it very briefly, but like the whole coins things, the whole comic thing, I am uncomfortable with what CGC will do for you on comic books. They will actually press comic books for you. They'll remove dents. They'll remove issues. I'm uncomfortable with what PCGS and NGC will do. And PCGS is owned by PSA or owned by Collectors that also owns PSA. NGC is owned by the same company that owns CGC. So like, in my opinion, and I think we discussed this already, Nick, but they do too much for me. I don't want my coins cleaned in the way that NGC and CGC will do for you if you pay them. Do you do that? Have you ever submitted and paid for their cleaning process, or?
I have not. No. But
do you like the idea of it?
I don't like the idea of that.
Yeah, like so. I'm not going to go into this hour thing, but I already covered it before. But I'm uncomfortable with how much the grading companies will do for you in coins. So, yeah, it's an interesting topic with a lot of gray area in between. Has anyone else? I know Retro a little bit ago was talking about watching the season 2 is out of the Ken Golden thing on the Golden Touch, right, on Netflix.
Yeah.
I've not yet watched it. I did watch the whole first season. I'm really looking forward to. Probably within the next week, I'll probably watch them all, assuming there's like 6 or 8 again or whatever. But did you guys watch season 1? What were your overall thoughts? And have you watched season 2 yet?
I didn't know it existed. I'm definitely interested though.
Check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I didn't even know.
Season 1 was funny. There was a little bit of Pokemon in there. There was a little bit of like. Their Pokemon expert recommended that they sell those 3 trophy cards together. That was a standout thing to me. Like, I think most people in the hobby are quite on board with the whole thing that, like, sell things separately.
Absolutely.
There's not really a premium. I know consecutive cert premium is kind of a thing in, like, very niche circumstances, but not when they're 3 separate graded 6-figure cards. Those things would have performed best separately.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
Did you watch season 2 yet, Nick? Have you started or no?
I have not watched season 2 yet. No. I'll probably watch that next week. on the plane rides. But I watched season one. Season one I thought was really good. I actually did enjoy that. So I'll definitely check out the second season. I wonder if they'll mention anything about the eBay buying them. That would be interesting. I kind of doubt it since that was so recent. But they had to have been talking about that back then when they were like filming season 2.
Yeah, that'll be. I'm definitely interested to see that. And Retro mentioned in his comment, someone said Metazoo might outpace Pokemon in Magic.
Wow!
Another
you were on the show, Dan.
Yeah. Another bit of looming Metazoo content that is out there in the ether, potentially being edited by somebody on the History Channel right now. Gary, recently was on with Pokemon Wonder, and he did mention that he talked about his filming the episode a little bit with a Metazoo sample sheet. And I think he said like 95% of segments that get filmed end up airing eventually. So it seems like fairly high likelihood that it will air. I'm really looking forward to seeing that too. And just recently I saw in Discord, I forget who shared it, but somebody shared Caleb Hammer. He does like financial audits of people's personal finances. And there was a couple on there that was in like heavy credit card debt, like, and they talked about Metazoo. They were like investing in Metazoo. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw a couple segments that people clipped out and time stamped, and there's definitely some credit card warriors out there. Oh man, that's funny though. Let me just catch up. KAC is mismanaged. CEO is cooked. Reply to tag is mismanaged. CEO is cooked. I don't think we've had the follow up yet from Greeny, right, on his CGC 9.5 PSA. Like how I forget all the former grades of that Creatures Deck Zapdos, but I think that card is.
I don't think he's given us an update on that.
Yeah,
tag 10, right? Isn't that the plan? Tag 10.
It was a tag 10.
It was a tag 10. Okay.
I'm assuming it won't be anymore. I like the idea of tag. I like the concept. I like I've not held a case in person, but they look good on digitally, I guess. I think competition is good. I think the issue is like you just get the extreme people. Like there genuinely will be some people trying to pump it, trying to shill it, trying for like their own financial gain. Some people, it's impossible to separate out who truly likes the product, who believes in it, and who is just pumping it purely for financial gain, rug pull, scam, whatever you want to call it. It's always impossible to separate that out. Well, I guess sometimes it's possible. Sometimes it's fairly clear, but oftentimes it's not that clear. And then you've got people that are just so anti anything XYZ, whatever their favorite company is. Like usually it's PSA. I think PSA has the most defenders just because naturally it's the biggest one in the hobby. It naturally has the most like fan, and just way too anti CGC, anti BGS, anti tag, anti anything. Like if it's not in my hospital banned red label plastic, it is a scam. It is a shill. It is a rug pull. It is whatever. Like it's like, man, you guys got to just chill a little bit. People are just always going wild out here.
Yeah,
but it is
definitely
what it is.
Pikachu had a pretty good question. Oh, there it is right there. Yeah,
I did have it start. Yeah. Talk about your business structure. How permissive are your routine auctions for growth? Have you moved away from that or leaned further into that structure?
Yeah, for sure. Business structure, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, I'm doing a lot of TCG Player. TCG Player is taking a lot of my time right now. They've recently changed the direct requirements to 98% accuracy. So I have to audit my entire inventory, which I'm currently working on. I'm almost finished, and just double checking everything. So that's taken away from some of the eBay things that I've been doing, but the routine auctions for growth I think is extremely important, especially for growth while you're still growing. I mean, if you're at day-end levels of income, maybe you don't need to do auctions anymore. But for middle to lower levels, I think auctions are really important. If you've got cards sitting on your eBay that are just doing nothing for you, or just sitting around, not even on eBay, auctions do really well. They clear up a lot of capital, get you some liquid money that you can put into other collection, into other grading plays, into, whatever it is. I still want to do, I'd like to get back to doing one big auction per month. I did skip a month because of TCG Player kind of just throwing that curveball at me. But I would like to get back to doing one auction per month. And hopefully I can get some more consignment. Like if you guys have any cards lying around, PSA cards or stuff that you want to get graded lying around, feel free to reach out, and I'll definitely get those in the auction for you. So the goal is to get back to one auction a month. I think it's really healthy for everybody. Just liquidates cards and everything. Gets you a good repeat following of buyers. Gets you a lot of followers on eBay. And yeah, I think that works really good. Other than that, just the rest of my business structure is just a lot of consignment and just selling stuff. So, I mean, if anybody has any extra cards lying around, I'm sure if I had to guess, just about everybody watching this video has extra cards lying around that they don't care about, don't need, aren't doing anything with, have no plans to touch again, So that's the type of stuff you could throw in a box, ship it my way, and turn it into some money that you can use for something that you enjoy a lot more. So that's kind of just what I've been doing. Lots of TCG Player, lots of eBay, trying to get back on the auction grinds, trying to, I have like 200 cards at PSA right now. Probably not a lot compared to Dan and some of these other guys, but I'm getting back on track for sure. So
I'm slowly winding the submissions back up, but I had been good not buying too much for most of the winter and really slowing down my submissions. But I just had like 400 cards come back recently between PSA, BGS, EGC. I'm just chucking them to PWCC because I need to catch up on some other stuff, and I don't want to further delay myself with that. And I wanted to comment too, like, I think Nick, you and I both used to be like, not 100% by any means, but we used to be a lot more buy it now than auction. I think that treated us well, especially from 2014 to 2020 when everything was just up. It's like you'd list it kind of high and it would eventually, the market would catch up and it would sell. But I've tried making like a conscious effort over the past couple of years to going into more auctions. My PWCC rates are dependent on being auction. Mm-hmm. I actually am pivoting towards that. I mean, some by necessity because to get the rates with PWCC, like I need to have certain volumes. I don't get it for buy it nows. I only get it for auction. And even though my cash flow is overall in like a much better state, it's hard to say that you can ever have too much cash flow, right? So true. I've been bad. Like I just had a card sell like 2 days ago that I don't physically have anymore. I forget if I sent it to PWCC. I forget if I sent it to DC Sports or if I brought it to a convention. Like I genuinely don't remember. I'm actually like 2 weeks, under 2 weeks, I'm going to be back to working days. The school year is ending. I can't wait. I'm going to do a full audit of my eBay. I'm not going to necessarily relist everything, but I'm going to. No, I don't think so. Maybe around the new year.
I thought you did that like less than a year ago at this point.
I think I did less than a year ago, but like I genuinely, I don't have that much of my own stuff right now. That's like onesie two, like I guess not onesie twosies, just one-off things. Like most of the stuff that I have is like 20 PSA 10 Celebrations Charizards. It's like quantity stuff. I actually just had a bunch of stamp promos land, and these are the things that I want to sell more via buy it nows, the stamp promos. And I got a big stack of the Cramorants too. I think I hit 10s on all but one. I want my eBay store to be consignments and then like deep quantity stock of like refreshable things, whether that's modern sealed, Japanese sealed, graded cards, Metazoo singles. Talk about dark plays. But all the one-off stuff, like shout out Z&G Emporium. He's got the eBay auction thing going. I know his eBay buy it now is going to vastly undercut my eBay buy now rates. I think I give people 1 year of free storage. I think he's talking about 90 days, maybe 3 months. I guess we'll see in July how that comes out. Maybe he goes a year, maybe he goes 90 days, maybe somewhere in between. I have no idea. But I'm going to try to like pivot almost everything that's a one-off to just auctioning. So if it's a deep stock, deep quantity play, that'll be there. I'll buy it now. Not even low list. I used to be almost universally low list. I'm playing the game that I don't like. I'm playing the pay to win, pay eBay 5% so that they can find a consumer that will pay 10%, 15% above low list. I don't really like it, but it's the game that I don't make the rules. I just play the game is where that is. So that's my like overall strategy. If it's a one-off card that I got in a collection that I graded, if it's a single graded card that I bought at 80%, I'm just auctioning it. I'm just moving it on and keeping it going.
Or you can send those to the SKYAThatOneGuy consignment because I take I take random niche one-offs. I'll take all that. I'm the jack of all trades guy. Dan's the high quantity consignment. Top of the tower over here. I'll take the scraps. It's okay. I don't mind.
I do have a stack of cards in front of me that came back from the eBay vault that are like the way that, so these are like the exception. Some of these are like the one-off cards that I will price as a buy it now that I don't want to YOLO into an auction.
Yeah, you don't want to YOLO those ones.
No, I guess they're as close as you would get to like my collection because I'm gonna have them priced above market as a buy it now with offers on. Let people send me offers, but yeah, overall, part of it, and people might ask, like why the pivot. I think that it's always case by case. It's always card by card. But I think it will just be in the next 5 to 10 years. I think it'll be a lot more punishing to hold cards than it was in my first 5 to 10 years. 2014 to 2019 especially, you were rewarded. Everything you held between 2014 and 2020, 2021, it was this and then it was this. Like, and I just generally see there will be exceptions for sure. Some cards will go up. But I think, and I've said it many times, I think the general trend is most cards are down and to the right. Or at least in real terms, cost of capital, opportunity cost, yada, yada, yada. Like most cards, I just want to move them more than I have historically.
Yeah. I'm the same way, especially with these lives. It's so much easier not to list stuff on eBay and just be able to run it through a live, show it for 10 seconds and let people bid on it and move on to the next one. So much nicer. That's what I want to get to is like sub $5 cards list on buy it now, over $200 cards list buy it now, everything in between, just run through the lives.
Yep. And $500 to $200, that's like there's a lot of cards in there. Like most of the cards are in there.
A majority of the cards, yeah.
The vast majority. Well, I guess the vast majority is like under $5 cards if you count commons and uncommons. But once you start talking about like the actual hit cards, most of them are between $500 and $200.
Yeah, exactly.
Retro's talking more about the Golden Show season 2. No spoilers, Retro. I don't think many people watched it yet. Basic said, "Did I miss the MetaZoo segment?" We covered that a little bit when we were talking about Retro bringing up the Golden thing. Here we go. Ernesto wants to know, question for Old School Pokemon: what modern card would you keep as a black label? No vintage, no foxes, no modern.
No foxes. I don't like black labels. I don't like BGS whatsoever. But I did, not quite a BGS, CGC Pristine 10s. I really, really like those. And so I recently bought the
Perfect 10 Squirtle you still have, right?
Perfect 10 Squirtle. I love that one. Yes, I still have that. But no vintage. I bought what did I buy? I bought the Pikachu and Gray Felt hat in a Pristine 10. And then I bought the Zapdos from 151, the SIR, in a Pristine 10. And really, really like both of those cards. So those would be the most modern things that I have already. But a black label one, if I had to pick a black label one, I think I would probably go maybe the Dragonite alt art from Falling Skies. Really like that card.
What about you, SKYA? Any black labels for the PC?
Do I have to keep it? I mean,
Well,
I'd be selling it. If I get a black label, I'm selling it, bro. I don't know, man. I'm not the type of collector to put a premium on a black label. Like, that's just, those things go crazy. I mean, you give me a Moonbreon black label, I'll let it sit on my shelf for a week, as long as I can sell it afterwards. You know, I don't know.
Walrus said you have the Tiggers you collect too, Nick.
Yes, the Lorcana Grail Tigers.
Master set of Tiggers.
I do. Yes, I do those in pristine tens.
What do you collect, SKYA?
What do I collect?
Or do you collect it all?
I collect vintage sealed Yu-Gi-Oh. Not the smartest market, but I've got an entire top shelf. I have a complete set of 2002 to 2007 sealed tins of Yu-Gi-Oh. I have most of the sealed vintage boxes. I have uncut sheets. I really like uncut sheets. Yu-Gi-Oh has the original sets in uncut sheets, like the LOB, IOC. I've been trying to get more of those lately. I only have 3 right now. There's not a ton in circulation, but those have been always fun to track down and collect those. Other than that, I'm mainly here to make money and reach some goals. I mean, I got some goals to make, so I'm here for making some money, you know.
You love to hear it. That's what Ernesto's saying. Do I have to keep it? LMAO, he's one of us. Yeah, Retro's probably getting a little dusty over all that sealed. He's probably envying that collection a little bit. But yeah, I definitely still abide by sell quickly what you can replace quickly. Like, certain things are just straight widgets. When you can buy sealed for X price, and like the vast majority of the hobby is just that there's a lot of it out there. You can get it any time. It's just a question of price. Will that price be higher? Will that price be lower? No one's ever going to know for sure. But yeah, the things that I can just do over and over, the plays that you can iterate on, I just keep those ones moving. And a lot of times I'll do those as the buy it nows. And the one-off things, I'm just more and more, like, too many times in the past couple of years, I've looked at a listing that's like 6 months old, a year old, and oh, well, I listed it at 300. That must have been low list. That must have been in the realm of last buy it now, last sold. And then I'm revising my price down to 100, and it's like, what am I doing? It's like, if I just auctioned this day one, I probably would have got 2 to 250. Considering I listed it at 300, it's like, and obviously hindsight 2020, some amount of those cards that I listed for 300 did sell at 300 instead of 200 or 250. So, like, I mean, I'm still going to try to navigate it the best way I can, and I'm going to try to optimize doing some buy it nows, but I'm going to lean more heavily towards auctions for sure than I historically have. So always adapting, always just going with the flow wherever that flow is headed. Hopefully not over a waterfall. Hopefully we're headed good place. And I feel like we are headed good places. I mean, it's unfathomable how much Pokemon is printing, how crazy everything is going. Like people are talking about Japanese, like it's crashing, like it's tanking. It's like, what are you guys talking about? I mean, these things are still going like at or slightly above MSRP, and it's like 151 crashed. No, 151 is a modern set that's in print. They printed more of it. I mean, 151 is still $50-something, $60-something for a brand new Japanese set. That's very, very high. I mean, that's double MSRP almost. Like, the market just gets absolutely wild sometimes. For people to be talking like we're not booming and this and that, I don't know. It's wild. Yeah,
Definitely. One thing I've done, you know, like you said, in retrospect, like looking back in hindsight, obviously, you know, you see these things, but yeah, there's a lot of money that I've left on the table just by not auctioning things, just by not liquidating things, and just sitting on them with too high of a buy it now price. And over the months, over the years, they've just gone down significantly. So being more aware of the items you have, how liquid the items you have are, you know, what the price trends are, all extremely important in this market that we're in today. You know, really, really keeping an eye on what these items are worth, whether they're trending downwards, trending upwards. Too many are hitting the market, not enough are hitting the market. You know, there's a lot of things you really got to be aware of in this market, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh! And in some of the more niche stuff. You really got to be, you know, a little bit more aware of these items and what they're doing. And it's not like the before the boom where you could just sit on everything and just hope it all goes up. You got to be a little bit more aware, a little bit more selective of what you're doing, and really make some wise decisions.
So you guys don't think we're going to get another 10 to 20x off the 30th anniversary? I mean, that's the conversation that's going to start entering the space more and more in the coming year or two.
I would love it.
Wild how that's coming up relatively quickly. Feels like Celebration just came out.
Feels like Evolutions just came. It feels like Evolution CP6, like 20th anniversary stuff just came out. Shining Legends, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Every time someone says in retrospect, I need $10 to my PayPal.
Was I the one that said it? I'll send him the 10 right now. I'll send it to him. Send me the PayPal and the DMs, Retro. We'll take care of you.
Retrospectfully. Why is Nick not falling asleep this episode as per normal? I mean, normally you don't even stream eBay Live on Thursday nights, and that is surprising.
I know. I should be passed out over here.
He wants friends and family, no notes on that $10 too.
Absolutely. Wouldn't send it any other way.
You got to send him friends and family, and then you have to say for goods and services. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. In retrospect, for goods and services. Yeah.
Retrospectfully.
Yeah, there you go.
For the goods and services you have supplied to me.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds good.
Oh man. I think we're fully caught up on. Oh, I guess I didn't answer this one, but the main things in my collection are just things that I feel like I don't want to auction, things that I'm clinging a little too tightly to, things that I feel to be honest, like if I had to answer, I think I would financially be better off if I auctioned all these art academies and just put that money into S&P 500 or put it into like the flipping business, or I truly think I'd perform better. But I definitely do still have a collector down in there somewhere. I really do enjoy this release of cards. I really do enjoy more of the cards that I have a story behind, having traveled to an event and pulled it with a bunch of friends, or bought it at Worlds, the first Worlds like trophy card I bought in person. I definitely have Collector Dan is down in there, and maybe he'll resurface at some point, or maybe I'll successfully conquer him, and then he'll be. If you ever see all these cards auction all in one block on PWCC, Collector Dan has finally been completely vanquished. He is fully gone, but as of right now, he still lives. He still lives to an extent. So, but yeah, black labels don't do it for me. If I had to purely collect just for me, they would all be raw cards. I wouldn't even grade any of them. Binders are the ultimate way. I think to store collections and to like view and enjoy cards for me. And yeah, that's where I'm at. We need them as like businesses. I think they do great things for the hobby, all that, these grading companies. But overall, like if I was just purely collecting, never selling, it would just be like, I don't care what other people think about the card. I don't need you to tell me it's a 7, 8, 9, 10. I see what it is. So yeah, I would just collect raw if it were solely for me. I enjoy these. Says with no smile. I mean, yeah, you hear what I say, but also see what I do too. And the fact that these are on my desk and that they weren't auctioned at 0% in the eBay vault, it says something, right? It says something.
Definitely.
Did you do anything with the eBay vault or not really?
I consigned with people doing the vault, but I didn't do it directly. No, I didn't have enough high-end items that I needed to liquidate through my own platform. I didn't have enough consignment on the higher end in that time frame, but I wanted to. I had plans to, but I had some friends who were already doing it, and I got some pretty good rates on that. So I mean, it all worked out for me. I mean, I wish I could have got into it more. I wish it lasted longer, but you know, that's the hobby. Always got to adapt. There's always things closing, always things changing. Yeah, I was a big part of, Troll and Toad Evo.
Yeah,
love that program. Yeah, made a ton of money off Troll and Toad Evo, one of my favorite platforms, and it's gone. Adapt or die. I don't know. Not much we can do.
Yeah, I wonder what our next big. It seems like every few months at most we have some like massive, just fundamental change to the way we transact in the hobby. Some big company swallowing up another one, some new grading company coming out, some new it's crazy how much change we've had.
Yeah, it really is.
I know.
Fresh and exciting.
I know Pikachu's memeing over here, but I can get some premiums on some PSA 6s, man. I mean, I'm assuming he's looking at my eBay, some past solds, and he's seeing some crazy 6s because I've had some wild ones. But if he's just memeing and didn't even look, that's fine too. But yeah, no. Ernesto's question was, do you think Yu-Gi-Oh sells for more on my eBay or his? Actually, I think in general, I should be able to demand some kind of premium, not just on eBay, but on TCG Player. If you're sending me like raw fulfillment stuff, if you want me to sell some raw, grade some, on TCG Player, I actually do get a premium. I sell on Direct. Direct usually gets 10, 20, 30% of a premium over low list. I consistently sell things for over full retail on TCG Player. On eBay, it's a little bit harder, but there are cases where that does happen. So yeah, I mean, I do think there are cards where I will get more higher values on the sold items than on yours. And as let's see who said it. As Retro says, I mean, I'll actually get it listed for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely actually get it listed. So that's got it going for it.
That was to Ernesto asking if Yu-Gi-Oh sells for more on your eBay or his, and
yeah,
said yours because it gets listed. I think Ernie's more of a vault. He doesn't really have the selling feature enabled yet. He'll just store it for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think earlier up also Ernesto asked for, was it Ernesto? Somebody asked for tips on listing cards because they weren't gonna list them. I can't find the comment right now, but
I think I remember Ernesto memeing something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways to list cards. I mean, optimally, you just get a Roko like Dan and just robot that up. But no, I do things a lot by hand. I sort things by set, condition. That if you have a bunch of stuff from the same set, it can make listing cards take no time at all on TCG Player. Other than that, Roka, Fujitsu scanning, like a scanner, card scanner, those work really well. I have one of those. Magic Sorter, I'm leaning into trying out the Magic Sorter. But yeah, if you're struggling to get cards listed, I mean, just send them to me and let me do it for you. That's where I'm at with it.
There we go.
I'm actually interested. I when we were talking about eBay Vault, I think it was 5 of my own cards and then 5 of a consignor cards. I actually left in the eBay Vault. I'm allowing them to transition over to the PSA Vault. I don't think it's happened yet. Like if I go to the Vault tab in PSA, I see where I can submit to them, but I can't see the cards that carried over. I actually also had one submission that was like, I think May 20th was the last day we had to list on the eBay Vault. They landed to the authenticator to PSA on like May 13th. So like a week before. I knew it was going to be tight. They didn't make it. So they never finalized into my eBay Vault. I emailed eBay and they're like, yeah, you're going to have to wait until the full switch over to PSA happens. And then you'll be able to withdraw them from your PSA Vault. I don't know what's going on with that one fully. I mean, I've already put in the request. I don't know that they'll be automatically shipped back to me. I might have to do it myself. They might just kick back to me themselves, but I hope that's coming soon. I think they did say by the end of June, which is within a couple weeks. But, I mean, that whole service is interesting too. I don't know how much I'll utilize it, but are either of you doing anything, sending raw to the PSA vault, automatically auctioning, looking at that at all, or not really?
No, I won't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to see. I mean, have they announced all their fee structures and stuff already? I don't know. I haven't kept a huge tab on it.
It starts at 16%, sub 100, and then above 5,000 at 7%. I forget exactly how it like reduces over the price blocks in there, but 7 to 16% depending on the price.
For sure. Yeah, I don't think that's something I'll look at in the short term. Long term, who knows? But yeah, short term, I've got enough time on my hands to sell all that stuff myself. And if I'm offering consignment services for other people, I probably shouldn't be consigning out my own stuff. So I mean, short term, I'm not touching it at all. Long term, maybe if I get overloaded and need to outsource, maybe if it comes to that, I'll look into it.
Mm-hmm. See, I do that though. Like I consign out my stuff that I don't have the time that isn't worth the time, but it's worth something. So I'll consign out things and then I'll consign other people's too. Like I try to target the mid and high end. I try to target the higher value stuff, and then like my own low and mid end. I'm gonna try it just because it's there. Like I'll probably make a video on how it goes. I remember a couple of years ago I tried PWCC with CGC. Didn't go that well overall because the grades were very punishing. All those original blue label 8.5s. But yeah, it's nowhere near like the applications I had for eBay Vault, but it definitely has some applications, I think. And then we'll have to wait and see if ZNG does Consignment Plus again. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of the market responds, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. Walrus question: how come all you guys do is talk money and not your emotional health? What are you hiding? Oh man, let's see. Here we go. Another question from Walrus: thoughts on GameStop having an eBay account and flipping all the dust they acquired?
Do they have an eBay account?
I think I saw they had like 4 auctions running, like 4. Unless that's changed recently. I was a little underwhelmed, honestly. 4 auctions didn't seem like a lot. I saw that they were running auctions, and I was like, oh man, I'll keep an eye on this. But when I looked at it, there wasn't much going on. I mean, I don't know if anything's changed. It's probably been a few days now, so I don't know what's changed since then. But I'm assuming that was some kind of test auction or something. Not sure.
I think I remember hearing somewhere, I forget whose video it was, where it was, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to buy them at whatever percentage they buy them. Remember that like one day of content where people were thinking like GameStop was going to be the place to sell? Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go
Everybody was freaking out.
And sell for 80, 90%. I mean, I went myself to one because I was going to the bank anyways, and mine's right by my bank, but they weren't even buying at my location yet. But I remember watching a couple of videos where talking about like, oh yeah, the market, like, I'm just going to sell my stuff through there. They're going to pay 80, 90. I heard that they're paying 120% on that Noivern card. And it's like, man, the content space, the whole market, everything about it is just wild. But yeah, I think the strategy that they had said was they're going to like buy it and then they're going to list it in store or on their website or both for X amount of time and then auction. That's kind of what I have in mind. Like what I'm doing with consignor cards now. Anything that came in earlier, I'm grandfathering in, no storage fees, anything. But I'm going to treat my own cards the same way I treat the consignor cards too. Because like I said, when I go to my eBay, you can sort by like date listed. Mm-hmm. I have some listings I made 3 years ago, 2 years ago. That is so dark. And I have some probably that I made 4 years ago. Not too much from before 4 years ago because it all would have sold during the boom, obviously. But like not 100% firm. Not like it hits 90 days, it has to be auctioned immediately. But roughly speaking, I'm gonna try to like look. Hey, what did I list 90 days ago? Somewhere in that vicinity, like maybe once a week, every other week. Just sort by old to new, and like okay, let's check. Do we either revise the price down, or do we just auction it? And more I'm gonna lean towards auctioning. Because not that I'm gonna be charging myself a storage fee, but I'm gonna I'm going to do my best. It won't be universal. There will be exceptions, but I'm going to do my best to have everything out within 6 months. We'll see how that actually goes. That's what I'm saying, but I guess we'll see what I actually do. But my last 400 cards, 500 cards that came in from grading companies are all going to PWCC to just auction in the coming months. So I just want to keep things moving more.
Yeah, that's definitely important.
Yeah. But it's not going to be like, I mean, I guess if you could, it would almost be a cool feature if eBay had like list this as a buy it now, and then just automatically, if it doesn't sell by December 14th, that'll be 6 months. Not that I would do it then probably, because then it would end on like Christmas, but listed on this Sunday as a 99-cent auction, like literally just at listing. If you could do that, buy it now, $1,000 until this date, and then just 99-cent auction it, run it, just do it all in one go. If eBay would add that feature, I would utilize it to make just to make myself behave better, I guess. 90 days, 180 days, whatever you want to do. So eBay, if you're listening, throw that feature in there.
Yes.
I mean, it's a pro for eBay too, because like a buy it now sitting for 3 years makes them no money. I mean, I guess maybe if you use your free storage, not your free storage, if you use all your free listings, maybe they're making 10 cents, 25 cents every time that auto renews. But overall, like, I mean, they have motivation for you to sell that card so that they can collect their fees, right?
Yeah.
I would use that, honestly. Yeah, I would use that a ton. Like, maybe not as much as you, but man, there's a lot of cards in my inventory right now that I would definitely be using that on for sure. So yeah, that's pretty good idea for a feature. You should definitely hopefully eBay's listen. Hopefully they implement that soon.
And I know James just recently doing a lot of advertising for the competition, but I know he just posted a short yesterday, I think last night, where he's gonna come back in July with Buy It Now. So I mean, the where I'm sitting with some of that is like, I mean, if I can't get better rates through my own account, I might be between using PWCC and PSA Vault to some extent, maybe ZNG Emporium Vault Enterprises. I might be taking a lot of stuff off my eBay. We'll see how it goes, but definitely not going to be closing up shop entirely. As I said earlier, I'll be having more of the replenishables, but all the non-replenishables, it's like I don't have the capacity to do as much as I have access to, I guess, is what it comes down to. And that's where coming up to hiring an employee or not, I just don't really want to hire an employee. Because if you use the services right, like SKYA used, well, Nick, you used Troll and Toad Evo too. Technically, you didn't have employees, but you had a lot of employees. I mean, you had a lot of people working on your behalf. They were way better than employees because, like, they were all the pros of employees with none of the cons.
Absolutely, yeah, and they were only charging $10 an hour for labor on raw fulfillment, so it was like highly trained employees for $10 an hour. Are you kidding me? Like, I will use that as much as you let me, you know? Highly trained employees with a big warehouse, $10 an hour, sign me up. I was all in. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good, really good services out there, and there's a lot of potential. Like you said, I mean, ZNG for things, Dan for, high ends, ZNG for auctions, throw me the niche stuff. I mean, you can consign stuff with a lot of different people.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, Nick for the live, exactly. Nick for eBay Live. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of us offering services. Yeah, a lot of us offering services and a lot of cards that would work better for different people. Like, I've had people send me cards and it's like, maybe this won't work best for me. Maybe you should send this to ZNG. Maybe you should send this to Dan. There's a lot of things where, it just fits better for different services that different people are offering. And I imagine you guys probably deal with that a lot. I know Dan probably has a lot of cards that he just does not have time to deal with. He could send the lower end stuff to me. He could send the more liquid stuff to ZNG, send some eBay Live stuff to Nick. I mean, I'm sure, there's a lot of really good services out there. So,
yeah, there's a lot of money to make in just knowing the optimal place to send things.
Yep.
That's a huge, I mean, that's almost entirely what I do. Like, I source, and then I try to find the best place to sell it. And the best is a combination of many factors. It's like you might have to hit certain volumes with certain platforms. You might you might need the capital for some other big thing that you have come up. Like it's an ever evolving, ever changing thing. What the optimal route is.
Definitely.
Back on the GameStop thing, I don't think GameStop having an eBay is like that weird. I mean, doesn't like Best Buy, Walmart, like there's so many brick and mortar stores that have eBay accounts. Like eBay is a massive marketplace that they're just gaining access to more customers that they might not otherwise have. I don't really understand why it would be a bad look. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fake at first, honestly, because I mean they had a really weird picture on their eBay, but I mean, it looks real. I mean, they only had 4 listings last time I looked, but I mean, it makes sense. I don't know. I mean, they definitely need a way to liquidate all that Pokemon that they're supposedly going to be buying. So I mean, eBay is definitely one of their best options. So I mean, it makes sense to me that they have an eBay account, but you know, I don't know. I guess we'll just follow it and see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they'd go through the same considerations as we would. It's like we have our own website that has some amount of following. What is their website following? Like, what is it traffic-wise? What are they actually there for? eBay already has built out like all this built-in advertising, all this built-in customer base. So do they want to spend all the money? They are pretty flush with money from the recent, I don't know if anyone's following the whole saga that ongoing over the past few years with GameStop, but they just raised like $4 billion in cash, I believe. Diluting all their shareholders. So they're definitely pretty flush with cash. I guess they could afford to build out an auction platform within their own ecosystem if they wanted to, but eBay's right there. It's like they can probably pick up the phone, call up eBay. They can probably immediately get some kind of a preferential rate, right? Because they're GameStop, because they're going to have certain amounts of volumes and things, like all the Best Buys, all the brick and mortar stores. I think Walmart has like an eBay page. They're not paying the rates that we're paying, right? They're doing a lot bigger volumes and stuff. Chipotle. we need a Taco Bell. I want to order my $5 box through eBay and have it.
Oh, there we go.
Hey man, that's the future right there, bro. I'm ordering my Taco Bell off eBay and it's getting DoorDash to me or whatever. I don't know, man. That's the future right there. Everything's on eBay, dude. eBay and Amazon. Can I just order Taco Bell from Amazon? They get it overnighted to me.
It'll be a Fanatics ever. I mean, Fanatics kind of, I guess, to touch on another news topic. Fanatics later this year will be Fanatics bought PWCC like a year ago, and they're going to be just ditching that branding. Makes sense. I mean, the shirt I'm wearing is from Fanatics. Fanatics owns everything in sports. They're buying all the licensing for all the trading cards, and they make all the apparel, a lot of the memorabilia. So for Fanatics to change PWCC's name to Fanatics Collect, like it makes complete sense. Mm-hmm. Within months or years, or will they someday go full circle and loop back around to having an eBay account? I have no idea. I have no information on that, but that would be an interesting development if that were to ever happen. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that have been around for a few years that really miss that early heyday of PWCC on eBay. Interesting times.
I won a lot of cards from PWC on eBay. I mean, I used to bet on them a lot back in the day.
That used to be so crazy. How many cards they had. Like towards the end, they were having 6 cards and a second for hours straight. It was
it was wild.
Yeah, a lot of things got overlooked, man. I was sniping stuff left and right. Yeah.
It got to be too much all at once, I think, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's an interesting thing to how the market will navigate that. And now you have all this fracturing. Not everyone can look at every platform all the time. I mean, the amount of deals that I've scooped up on Heritage, Golden, PWCC, Rare Candy, Memory Lane Collectibles, some of those random one-off auction houses that don't have nearly as much stuff. It's pretty crazy how massive the market is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Basic says, true story. Thanks to Dan and Ordinary and Necessary, 93% of my income has not been taxed and going forward will not be taxed. If the feds come knocking, should I send them to you, Dan? My number one piece of tax advice that I give is always pay them. So absolutely send them to me. I will say, hey, I told Basic to pay them. If he's not paying them, that's between you guys, and good luck.
Good luck.
Oh man, it's the patriotic thing to do. Pay your taxes.
Pokey Dragon had a good comment.
Oh well, here let me take a bad comment first. Skater Nesto says, Collecticon plane crashes in a deserted island. Which widgets actually help you survive? So, is there anything you bring to a convention, any kind of inventory that you're bringing that actually has utility in real life, or no?
Nope.
I mean, I might have like a lighter on me. Maybe it'll help on a deserted island, start up some fires or something. I don't know. I mean, I could use these big, heavy PSA slabs and knock somebody out with them. Maybe knock some animals out. Take this hunting with me. I don't know. Is that a play? I don't know.
See,
yeah,
finding a little bit of utility there, but not too much to speak of. I don't think. Not too many widgets. Not too many widgets in the space are necessary for survival, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if I throw some booster packs at the wild animals, will they leave me alone? Is that gonna keep them occupied? I mean, I don't know. Not much utility there.
Is this the one you were talking about, Nick?
Yeah, I don't think that would be the case. I think for one, you'd never have a situation where everyone liquidates. But even if everyone who sells does liquidate every 90 days, I don't know if it would have much of an effect. I think it would have a little bit of an effect, but I don't know. I don't think the market definitely would not crash. I can't see it happening because not everyone who collects sells. It's a small minority of people who actually sell. The vast majority of people just collect and they never sell. So it's not like the entire pop report is getting rotated every 90 days. A lot of that pop report is just going into people's collections and sitting there collecting dust. Look at how many auctions happen every week already between PWCC, regular eBay, and everywhere else. It's a lot of auctions that are constantly happening. So I don't think that necessarily would happen.
Yeah, and based on Dan's idea, I mean, everything wouldn't happen all at the same time, right? Like Dan said, based off when your eBay listing, after 90 days after eBay listing, we're not all in the same cycle. So a lot of these items would be listed on different days. Not everybody would be running the auction at the same 90-day time periods. So I mean, it would bring a lot more liquidity, but it's not going to destroy the current market. I mean, I feel like we're all running on different times. We're all listing at different times. We're all consistently listing. Like I'm listing, maybe not this month because I've been so focused on TCG Player, but I'm listing new inventory on eBay weekly, so I mean, every week that would be a new item to be auctioned 90 days from now. Every week, here's a few more items, consistent PSA returns. I mean, I don't think it would crash the market. I don't think people liquidating. I mean, personally, I wouldn't liquidate everything across the board. I would only liquidate the stuff that I don't want to sit on any longer than 90 days. So, I mean, I don't think it would destroy the market too much. I think it's an amazing idea, but I could see your concern, I guess, as well. So,
I understand the sentiment behind it because one thing I've said, and like, if grading were instant and super cheap, a lot of the prices would universally just tank across the board. Like the cheaper and easier, the more barriers removed from grading cards, the lower the prices will go. Absolutely. I think it'll be interesting to see how the PSA Vault interacts with that. I think it will introduce certain people to grading for the first time that were always afraid to do it before. They'll chuck 100 cards that they should not have chucked, and they'll get wrecked, and they'll learn a little bit. And I think the market would be the same way. Like absolutely, if law went into effect starting tomorrow, you have to auction everything that you're not keeping for life. You have to auction it in 90 days tops. You need to get rid of it. It would hurt prices in the short to medium term. People would learn to navigate this new world as we have once we lost Troll and Toad Evo, as we have once we lost eBay Vault. Like the market would change in some way, and it would come out the other side slightly different. But I don't think it would just like completely destroy the market irreversibly forever. It would just be some new thing that people would learn to navigate a new way. One thing that I was looking up while you guys were answering, actually, so per Pokemetrics, 6.7 million PSA Pokemon cards have been graded in the past 12 months. And eBay is not the entire market, obviously. eBay is the largest single player in the market. There's Drip, there's Whatnot, there's all these different, I mean, LGS, there's tons of cards sold off of eBay. But I think most people would agree eBay is the single biggest seller. So I'm looking on eBay right now per Terapeak, and I searched PSA Pokemon. So in the last year, roughly on average, there's been about 15,000 PSA Pokemon cards sold per week. And we know that pulls in some listings that aren't actually PSA Pokemon cards. So sometimes they put PSA question mark in the title. Sometimes it's PSA Pokemon protector sleeves. Let's just say, let's take that all those are actually PSA Pokemon cards, even though we know that they're not. And some amount of them are the same card being sold more than once, maybe in the span of a year. But let's say it's 15,000. Let's round up to 20,000. 20,000 a week times 52 weeks. That's $1 million. So in a year, absolute like tops. It's not actually this much, but it's somewhere in that vicinity, I guess. So 1 million cards. Not only of those 6.7 million cards, because 6.7 million have been graded in the past year, but 13 million exist total. So 1 million of those that have been sold, some amount that were newly graded. I mean, obviously, people are still selling. Well, this is CGC, so it doesn't apply. But people are still selling PSA 9 base unlimited Charizards that were graded within the past year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So I guess what I'm saying is probably less than 10% of all Pokemon cards, or less than 20, 30% of all Pokemon cards are actually sold within any certain time frame, or however you want to look at it. So yeah, it would change the way that you would have to navigate it, but it wouldn't just destroy everything entirely. But if PSA started grading tomorrow, if they could grade within a day turnaround and they could do it for $5, absolutely that would be bearish on a lot of prices across the board. Like, a lot of people think they want $8 grading, and it's just like this other phenomenon we have. People long for the prices of 2016, of 2018, of 2019. They long for the prices because they don't consider the fact that they'd have that liquidity too. So they want yesterday's prices with today's liquidity, and they want yesterday's prices of PSA grading with yesterday's turnaround of PSA grading with today's prices of the graded cards. And you can't have both. I mean, if we go back to $5 PSA grading, like Gary has mentioned before, that he's graded most of his cards for about $5. And most of those were turned around in under 2 months. If we start having that again, you're not going to have the prices you have today. So pick one. And like, people are so ready to get $10 grading that turns around in a week. I mean, if you're the purest of pure collector and you want all PSA slabs in your collection and you're never going to sell, absolutely, I can understand your motivation. If you're a flipper or a reseller or a business, I promise you don't want that. I promise you do not want that, because as sad as it is, as crazy it is to say, so much of our market is just buoyed by the fact that some of these companies are kind of a pain to deal with. The process is not amazing. There's a lot of randomness in it, a lot of luck involved in it. And as that starts to go away, the margins go away. So be thankful for what we have while we have it, I guess.
I would be scared to work in a market with $5 grading. That would be scary, man. A lot of the cards that I deal in would just crash. A lot of things would be. I mean, how many times are people going to crack open slabs and resub them? If you could do that for $5, I mean, shoot, there'd be people cracking the same slab over 10 times. You know, I mean, there's so many different ways to work in that market. Like, $5 grading with quick turnaround is just, that's scary. That's just insane.
And I feel like people not thinking it through fully would say, what are you talking about? I would love that. Instead of having to risk $15 per card, I'm only going to have to risk a third of that. You're gonna risk less, but you're gonna lose more. I can guarantee you very quickly, because you think the where'd it go? I took it down from my background, but it's still over here. You think these are gonna go away if grading goes to $5? You think some big players aren't gonna step in and gobble up all, like, we do not want collectively, as the businesses in this space, we do not want $5 less than 1 week grading, I would say. Here's one for you, SKYA, from Dan Hazard.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I have a pretty solid routine. I have a few helpers that come in for really big sales days. Like TCG Player did that Mayhem sale recently. I had some helpers. I had to manage. I had to move around the schedule a bit for that. But making sure all my orders are shipped every day is top priority. Answering customer service, top priority. Those are the things that are happening right at the start of the day. So if that takes my whole day, that's my whole day. Just answering questions and shipping. And then if I basically that's the start of the day, and then any free time I have after all questions are answered and all orders are shipped, then that's when I whatever's next on my list, whether I need to list new graded cards on eBay, that'll come next. Then after that, TCG Player will come next. It's kind of just a structure of what needs the work the most. I do have like a calendar pretty much set up, but there are always ebbs and flows. There's always things changing. There's always big collections coming in, big consignments coming in. There's always like TCG Player changing the direct requirements. I've had to almost completely stop listing items on eBay this month. I don't think I've listed anything new on eBay this month. I've just relisted things that have sold. There's nothing actually new. So like this month specifically, almost all of my time has been just auditing my inventory, just going through condition checking everything, checking quantities. So that's really thrown a pretty big wrench in my actual calendar, in my schedule. But on a normal schedule where everything's calm and mellow, I do actually have a schedule. I do, I wake up, make some food, and then answer questions and ship. Is basically that's the main tasks of my day, is just making sure those are taken care of, and then everything, any free time after that's just whatever the business needs. So little bit of winging it, a little bit of scheduling, combination of the two.
If you're comfortable sharing it, if not, that's fine too. But like, what's your normal day, like volume wise? Like, how much of that is TCG Direct versus how much is TCG you doing it yourself? And then what's TCG Player look like percentage wise, maybe compared to like your volume of eBay shipments?
Oh, TCG Player is way more in volume, way more, significantly more. eBay is more time consuming because I ship some accessories. I ship some sealed deck boxes. I ship playmats. Those are more time consuming to package up, to do everything. So, as far as the time split goes, they're probably decently equal. But TCG Player, I had the Mayhem sale that they did. I had 350, 400 orders to ship over that weekend period. So that was a lot of work, and that's not even including direct orders. Every other day, I get a direct order. That's anywhere from 100 to 500 cards. If I really am aggressive and I lower my price floor on TCG Player, I can get it up to 1,000, 2,000 cards in a direct order. So it can get pretty overwhelming. And just the most important thing is just finding a balance in it all. Just make sure my prices aren't too low on TCG Player, or else I'll be shipping for the whole entire week straight. Make sure I'm still listing new items and shipping on eBay. Right now, I've said this like 10 times already, but because of the TCG Player thing, right now my eBay handling time is extended. I think it's 3 to 5 business days right now. Usually I only do 1 or 2, but just for this specific month, that is extended. So I'm not putting as much priority on eBay, but I ship a lot of deck boxes and binders and really high-end, expensive playmats and deck boxes and stuff too. $300 deck boxes, stuff like that, and those are definitely a lot more time-consuming on eBay. But yeah. Direct and TCG Player is probably the most time consuming for me. Lots of 100 orders per day, lots of 200, 300, 400 orders, huge direct orders. It's really time consuming, and when I get overloaded, I do have people who come and help me with some shipping here and then, some locals. So I have options for that and everything. So
we got a follow up too. You mentioned not having card shops that buy Yu-Gi-Oh near you. Does that give you an edge of sourcing locally? Do shops refer to you? Do you
Yes.
leave like business cards at the shops?
Yeah, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I have Idaho on lock, dude. I got it on lock. I'm not even lying. I've been here for 10 years. Everybody knows me. I have people come to my house and just dropping cards off at the front door. I have businesses, they will have people call me. I've had to drive down to Boise recently just because a card shop, somebody brought in a Yu-Gi-Oh collection, and they just said, here's the guy, he can come here and meet you here, or here's his phone number and you can bring it to him. I just met him at the Boise card shop. So yeah, in terms of locally, I mean that's been one of the biggest advantages I have in my entire business is just I have everything going on locally. If there's a big regional tournament locally, you know, I'm the only vendor. I'm the only person buying and selling. If there's a big, you know, whatever the event is, I'm the only person buying and selling. You know, there's a few guys who like, you know, that they'll buy a few collections here and there. They'll mostly put it all in their binder, and you know, they're not really actively selling anything. So as far as Yu-Gi-Oh locally goes, I've got it on lock, and that was kind of the main decision for my business before I really realized how much money I'd be making on TCG Player and eBay and everything. Just buying and selling things locally is what really got me started. So yeah, it's a huge edge, and I love it. Honestly, it's amazing. I get some of the best deals I get are locally. It's insane. You know, like Boise regionals, Yu-Gi-Oh regionals, Yu-Gi-Oh big events. We get people coming from Billings, Montana. We got, you know, Washington, Oregon. You know, we've got people traveling really far for these tournaments, and you know, they come down and they want to do business with me and the store that I work with. So it works really good. It's been amazing.
Do you know anyone by the screen name Idaho Jolteon?
No, not off the top of my head. I mean, I could look into it. That doesn't. I know pretty much all of the Pokemon player base in Idaho. I mean, I'm really familiar with them. I work with them a lot. A lot of great guys. Name doesn't ring a bell, but I could ask around for sure.
With all the conversation around the local scene and how successful that is, have you ever toyed with the idea of brick and mortar, or are you like committed to online only?
So it's tough because Idaho, we have ABU, which is one of the biggest Magic the Gathering stores out of everything. I think they're in the top 5 or top 10 or something. They're huge. So competition is already really, really rough for me. And I'm really good friends with owners of multiple card shops in my location. I don't want to step on any toes. I think I've got a really good thing going. And as far as like a walk-in actual brick and mortar where you do local tournaments and stuff like that, I don't think there's a need for any more card shops in my area. I think that's all covered. One thing I would like to look into is just having a warehouse where I just have employees who just handle my online e-commerce and just shipping and everything. That is something I would like to do. Maybe we start there at the warehouse, and if that goes well enough, then we work it into a storefront. Maybe that is something in the extreme long term. But as far as short term goes, there's already so many card shops locally to me that are just killing it, and you know, I don't need to mess that up. I mean, they let me do business there. I'm happy with it. It works out perfect for me in the short term for sure. So I don't not unlock. It's unlocked for Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm unlocked for Yu-Gi-Oh. Pokemon, like I said, Pokemon and Magic are out of my hand. Those guys have got that covered. ABU Games is huge. They've got Magic unlocked. They've got, you walk into their store and there's uncut sheets that are worth 50 grand. There's, you know, they've got that on lock for sure. So yeah, I can't mess with that.
You didn't say Idaho Kaiba or Idaho.
Yeah. Yeah, if you'd say some Idaho Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, then I'll know for sure. But yeah, Idaho Jolteon, no, that doesn't ring any bells. Yeah.
I started one from Aiden. Dan, after Troll and Toad Evo, eBay Live, and now PWCC. Whose door is next on the Grim Reaper meme? You forgot MetaZoo.
You better not be having a Grim Reaper knock on eBay Live door.
Yeah, I was joking around with Dan in his chat one time, and I'm like, dude, stay away from directs, stay away from like all my businesses because like I don't want anything else to die. Dan definitely had a solid hand in killing Troll and Toad Evo. I'm confident in that. It's been confirmed by Troll and Toad employees, dude. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, direct I had on my mind to an extent. I'm like, let me explore that. They have the
story
of products. Just me thinking about that. I mean, they like put their foot down. They're like, Dan's thinking about coming to us. 98%.
98%. Yep. 98% raising the minimums. Like they're making it hard now. Like they're making you work for it. They've kicked out a lot of people from direct. It's scary, man. It's really scary. Like my shop could be on the chopping block. If this audit doesn't work out good, like I could be kicked. But I think I got it down with this audit. I think I'll be all right.
But yeah, the PWCC thing is less. That's not going away entirely. That's just they're changing the name to better reflect the actual ownership. They were sold a year ago now, so it's just been a while to get the new name in. Oh, here we go. Walrus wants you to talk Gen Con. Retro wants to know if you've ever done a deal. I'm assuming this is a meme. Buckstrap Billy.
Bookstrap Billy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Triple B. I just saw him
yeah,
yesterday.
dude. Me and Triple B, way way back, bro. Don't even sweat it, dude. I do deals with him all the time, bro.
Oh, great guy. I've heard the legends of
Yep.
Triple B.
Yeah, definitely.
So Walrus wants you to do some Gen Con pumping. What's your plan? What's your plan for Gen Con? What's going to be going on? Anything you could share? Or are you completely abandoning us at Charlotte?
We've got an update. Last time we talked, I was talking about doing Gen Con and then going to Charlotte for Sunday and seeing everyone for a little bit. But Charlotte is officially off the schedule.
Oh no.
I'm gonna be doing Gen Con Thursday through Monday, and doing eBay lives at the eBay booth at Gen Con, both Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. So you can find me on eBay Live, 4 p.m. whatever time zone they're in. They're in Central Time, or are they on the East Coast? I don't know. Whatever time zone they're in.
Probably Central, but yeah, I don't know. Walrus says he might go to Charlotte still, though.
No.
No, he's gonna be busy.
Not allowed to.
It's definitely a decision more and more of us will be facing. I mentioned earlier King Pokemon Gary's conversation he had with Pokemon Wonder the other night, or last week, I think it was. And he mentioned that there's going to be more Collecticon dates next year than there were this year. So be ready. I'm still pulling for Syracuse, New York. Something within an hour drive from me. Maybe we'll have to see. But
yeah, Idaho would be great. Throw me at Idaho Collecticon. We actually just lost our biggest anime nerd convention. The chairman that ran it for 10, 15 years, he finally retired. So we have no conventions going on in Idaho. The Grove Hotel, huge location, more than big enough for a Collecticon. I'm just saying, Collecticon people, Idaho. I'd be there. I'd be there in a heartbeat.
On Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising. I know Retro's in the chat. He's always trying to push a Seattle one. You would think that there would be enough consumers up in that
I would go
Pacific
to that.
Northwest, right?
Yeah.
It'd be surprising if we don't eventually get one of them. I'd imagine they're going to revisit a lot of the current places they have, and it'll be interesting to see 5-10 years. What's their limit? Is Collecticon going to try to push to be a fortnightly thing? Are they going to be having one every other week? Are they going to be? What's their cap? What's their ceiling? It's a good problem to have. I understand people's desire to have there only be a handful of events that are more premier that more people will go to, but I think it's a great problem to have when you have to decide between, do I want to go to Card Party this weekend or go to Kansas City next weekend or go to... It's there's always something great going on with a bunch of people passionate about the hobby, and you're not going to see all your friends. You're not going to see all your online people you don't see enough. You won't see them all at any one thing, but having the ability, any given month, you can travel somewhere and something great's going to be going on. So it's a great time for the hobby. Very bullish on the convention space because there are titans, the Collecticon brothers, Pat Flynn. There's I don't even know all the I guess Collecticon has kind of stepped up to being the premier one, at least for us in this space. Obviously Gen Con's a thing that's way bigger and longer lasting, and Comic Cons, but there are a lot of other different ones. The names are escaping me. What's the one we went to in your area, Nick? What was that one called?
Oh God.
There's the front row card show, I think.
Card show.
What was it again? Oh yeah, best flipping card show. Best Flipping Card Show, Front Row Card Show. Like, there's a lot of other names that are escaping me too, but I still need to check out. Like, I'm pretty close. I'm within an hour of Syracuse. I'm only a little over an hour from Albany. I know that there are some things that go on. I still need to check out a local at some point. It's not going to be anything like, it's going to be a lot smaller than the Best Flipping Card Show, I think. But to be within driving distance under an hour and not know what's going on there, like, I need to fix that sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Walrus says, cancel all the cons I'm not going to. I know over on wasn't that Oak or Greeny spicy comment or something that they should do a slabbed podcast event?
Yeah, yep.
I know people have talked about doing something at Mason's, doing something at Cardinal Gaming. Like, there's always going to be stuff going on, but I'm just never going to be the one to put that together. I know you and Jake and then Dan TCG have put together the one up in New Hampshire a couple times. There's just a lot that goes into it, and so much of that stuff is out of my wheelhouse. Like, I'll attend them, but I'm not going to be the one to put them together because there's so much there to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm bullish on people continuing to do it because the money's definitely there. The Collecticon brothers, I think, do very well for themselves with it. I mean, just do the math on look at how much the vendor tables cost, and then look at how many sections they got, and man, you get a rough idea of the head count, and they're pushing big numbers every convention.
Oh yeah, and I bet they would make. Well, that's tough to tell. I almost think they would make more money off of people coming in than vendors.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of attendees at those events. I would imagine. Yeah, they're making a pretty good amount on those tickets for sure.
And I don't know how the arrangements work with like the artists and stuff. I'd imagine, say Dark Magician Girl is charging $50. They must be, I don't know, if they have enough celebrity appeal, maybe Collecticon is paying for them to come. But some of them almost might be paying a portion of the revenue they take into the convention, or paying for like their table, right? I could see that going either way. Same way with vendors.
Either way, yeah.
I think some of the higher end vendors actually pay to be like a featured vendor, to have their name on the map, to have their name on banners and stuff. And then there are some like influencers and things that get given a section and don't actually pay. So it's like you have some people that are paying extra, some people that are being subsidized. Like I don't know entirely how the whole process works, but it's a pretty interesting thing. The finances behind those.
Yeah, they've had the Dark Magician Girl actor. They've had the Dark Magician. They've had like the same 4 or 5 Yu-Gi-Oh related actors to almost every Collecticon. So the agreement they have with them must be really working out for everybody, because I mean, they're really just going to it and pushing it on social media, and it seems like there's always a line for autographs and stuff, so it seems like it's working for everybody.
Here's a question from Walrus just for us. Should Pillars and Company get VIP tickets for Collecticon or general admission? I mean, coming from a non-pillar, you don't see any holographic badges here. Mine just say VIP, they say vendor. Nick, when he goes, he gets that holographic badge that says all access. I don't know anything about that. That's above my pay grade.
We might have to go. We might be going general admission for Kansas. Gonna slum it.
I went general admission to Orlando. I was only going for part of the day. Like I didn't get in the line at the start. I think New Jersey, I'm just gonna go general admission too. Kids are free. Kids under 7, I think it is. So, yeah, I booked general admission for Sunday. I'm not a pillar, so I wouldn't know. I definitely don't get that shiny badge.
Yeah, no, I think Collecticon is sleeping on Dan hard. I mean, if I was running Collecticon, I'd be sending Dan like the VIP package. Like, here's your premium tables. Like, here's your free shiny badge. Like, I'd be making sure Dan's coming to all of them. I borderline throw some free flights at him. I don't know. I mean, bringing Dan to a Collecticon brings a pretty big crowd, if you ask me. I mean, I would honestly only go for my first Collecticon. I would only go if Dan was at one. I mean, I want my first Collecticon. I want to be able to meet Dan. I want to be able to meet a lot of people from his chat.
Chicago's
Yeah.
the one for this year.
Is that the one? Okay, well maybe that's the one I need to put on the books. Yeah.
Put Chicago in the books. October,
Okay.
so you got time. You got time.
Oh
There's a
yeah, I
lot
got
of- a
time.
lot of people
Okay. It sounds like my first Collecticon's locked in. There we go.
going. There we go.
Yep.
You gotta be doing Chicago too, right, Nick?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That one you've got to do.
There we go. October. Yeah.
I want to say we have a solid few sections in Chicago. How much do you think they pay to have Jason Page sing every time?
$20.
Oh,
Jason Page
man.
is definitely desperate. He would do it for cheap, I'm sure.
Let's give the perks to Dan. 50 people watching would translate to thousands of attendees. Sure, absolutely.
But Dan brings the whales. That's what you don't understand. It's not about volume. It's about who he brings. That's the most important thing. I know that he's trolling, but man, I'm serious. I think Dan brings the whales.
The whales are already there. The whales are bringing me. But
Yeah.
I will say, we're not formally sponsored by Collecticon, but there is not a PokeFlipz that exists where we are not talking about the recent Collecticon or the next Collecticon or...
They really should be putting some money in your hands, give you some free flights, and bring you those things, man. They're missing out. I'm telling you.
We're always on the pump for sure.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to be. I mean, I'm not sponsored by any company, and I always just end up talking about the ones that bring me the most. They bring the most to the hobby in general. eBay, Collecticon. Even though I'm critical of some of them, I've been critical of eBay. I'm critical of Collecticon almost solely for their concerts that are way too loud. I mean, I will always say what I think could be better, but overall, I mean, I only say that because I care about it being better, continuing to be good. So at least a VIP pass for Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, they got to get rid of those VIP passes for Kansas somehow, right? Might as well give them away.
No, they're actually sold out. That's why we're doing
Oh.
the edition.
Wow, okay.
I was shocked.
Oh, you looked into vending or?
No, VIP versus general admission.
Oh, they're actually sold out entirely of VIP.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
I did not think that would happen, especially for Kansas City.
I didn't know they really did that. I know I heard people talking about Long Beach that one year where like the fire marshal said there's too many people in this building, like nobody else can come in for the day. But I didn't even really know. I guess it makes sense. Like obviously there has to be some limit, but I don't think I've heard of the VIP selling out for any of them before, really.
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard of that either.
How's it going, Vandy? Nice to see you. Walrus trying to get more people to attend Kansas City.
There we go.
We are fully caught up in chat. I guess I'll just do a little quick rundown of where we're at, and everyone who maybe just hopped in like Vandy did, check out the links below. We got SKYA's YouTube linked. We've got his Instagram linked. Primarily Yugioh guy. We're here for another 40 minutes or so doing Q&A. If anyone has questions, 30, 40 minutes, feel free to leave them. I guess one thing on the YouTube being linked, SKYA, what's the status of the YouTube? What's the plan for that kind of short, medium, long term? I know that yours is a little bit slow lately, not quite as slow as old school Pokemon's, but
it's not complete dead. Yeah, it's not a ghost town.
Let people know like what kind of content you make there. Are you done with it? Do you have future things coming? I know I'm constantly talking about what I have coming. So
yeah. No, I have a YouTube channel. It's got videos from like 10 years ago. It's got wide variety of card related content, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, a little bit of everything. Actively, I will for sure post a video every single time I do an eBay auction. So at the very least, that's the absolute minimum content that I will upload. I do have some vintage products that I do enjoy opening for fun. I used to record those. I have taken a break on that, but that's something I might get back into in the future, just opening some vintage stuff, having fun. I did a few live PSA returns. Those were pretty fun. Things like that I might get back into, but I definitely need to make sure my TCG player inventory is fixed and my business is stable and there's nothing too crazy going on in the hobby before I start investing too much more time into my YouTube. But at the very least, there will be PSA auction videos for when I do an auction on YouTube. Bare minimum, that will be there about once a month. Hopefully, that's the plan. So other than that, just open to ideas. I mean, if there's anything Yu-Gi-Oh related you want to see, let me know. If there's anything, if you want to see how my consignments go, if you want to see, if there's something specific you want to see, let me know, and maybe I can make a video of it. I have a few videos that I really enjoy doing. Like, I did a video, I searched 100,000 bulk hollows for money, and this is what I found. I really enjoyed doing that video. It was a little bit rushed. I'm not happy with the final result. That might be something that I go back into and do again, where I get a fresh set of 50 100,000 bulk hollows, go through it and just show you, here's all the $2 cards, $3 cards, here's all the 5 everything, whatever it is. That's something that I really enjoy doing, and I might do again in the near future. So
go drop some comments on his most recent video asking for the content you'd like to see, and go check out some of the backlog. I actually looked 13 years ago are your original videos.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I used to trade on YouTube, bro. I used to I would upload my trade binder, and I would go to other people's trade binders. You could direct message on YouTube back in the day. I used to trade on YouTube all the time, bro. I printed money on YouTube like 13 years ago. I had one of the most popular Yu-Gi-Oh deck videos on YouTube like 13 years ago. It was an Exodia FTK deck. It got, I don't know, 10, 20,000 views. That was like one of the most popular deck profiles on YouTube back in the day. But clearly not anymore. Things have changed.
Yeah, this is some vintage YouTube content.
Yeah, it gets a little cringe once you get back to the 10, 13 years. I mean, I was recording some of those videos on my bed, no lighting, no nothing, but that's what YouTube was back in the day, man. It was just people trading cards and enjoying the hobby. So
there's a lot of like cards for username, trades for username. Interesting.
I did some amazing trades back then, man. Like, insane. There were some really good people on YouTube back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, Vandy was asking when Kansas is. Kansas is next week. Crazy. Doing a final wedding walkthrough. Good luck with the wedding, Vandy. Retrospecs wants to know, how many uncut sheets do you need to be considered a pillar? How big are Yu-Gi-Oh uncut sheets?
I've got all kinds of different sizes. I've got let's see, can I reach this? Hold on one second. There we go. So I've got this is the most common one. These are just 3x3s. This is what they give out at YCSs. They usually give out 10 to 20 of these every YCS event, which is multiple times a month. And then I'm not going to grab them right now because I don't have them ready, but I also have 4x4s. I have 6x6s, and I have 9x9s. So there's multiple different options for just the regular meta sheets. And then the really vintage sheets are like the Pokemon sheets, where they can go, what is it, 20x20, 40x40, whatever it is. I don't know the exact number, but all kinds of options.
11 by 11 or 11 by 12, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever it is. What I wanted to do is this empty wall right here. I actually have an uncut sheet that I got from King Pokemon. I got it from him in 2016 for like $200 back before anybody cared about any of this stuff. But I actually have a really nice starter deck Yu-Gi-Oh uncut sheet that I wanted to put right there, but I don't have a frame for it, and I didn't have the strength to put holes in an uncut sheet corner. It just didn't feel right to me, so I actually just left the wall empty there. I literally had it out, and I was like, do I want to put holes in each 4 corner just for a video? Like, do I really want to do this? No. I just rolled it back up and put it in the same packaging that I've had from Gary King Pokemon for like 10 years now, since 2016 or whatever I bought it from him. But yeah, I've got all sizes. My favorite uncut sheet though is Pharaoh's Servants, Labyrinth of Nightmare, and Invasion of Chaos. Those are the 3 that I have that are my favorites. You had to get them from the only people who got them were judges at the Shonen Jump tournaments back in the early 2000s. So they're extremely niche, extremely hard to find. They're the original sets in first edition holographics. Like, that's some of the best uncut sheets you can get. Those are my favorites for sure.
I think I've been saying this for probably a year. I have a stack of uncut sheets that I want to get listed on eBay. I think I'm just going to skip all that hassle, and I think it's going to be kind of a lot, so I need to go through them well and determine what I want to keep and what I definitely want to sell. I think I'm gonna send them to PWCC to just auction them when I feel like auctioning them. But so long they've just been in a stack. I'm not appreciating them. It's a fair bit of money to have tied up just doing nothing. And they're way up from what I paid for them. So I think I'm finally going to go through those relatively soon. And it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to cost to ship, but I have a lot of the sheets will roll and you just ship them in a tube and it's not bad. But I have a couple top sheets that someone shipped one rolled to me and it like delaminated.
Oh no.
It like
Oh,
almost like 2 layers separated on parts of it.
Ugh.
And being flat for so long, I think it's like mostly going back together fine. But yeah, so certain sheets cannot be rolled. And I actually, so one sheet I had shipped to me rolled and it looked fine, seemed fine. And then sometime later I found out that it was not fine. But a lot of my sheets I just have laid flat in those big top loaders. You can actually buy like an uncut sheet top loader. And going way back, probably 2016, 2017 timeframe, somewhere in there, I bought a lot of like 8 or 10 top sheets from a guy who actually shipped them between 2 1/4-inch sheets of plywood. And they were like metal banded tight and there was plastic over everything. And that had to be, maybe it wasn't, I don't know, maybe it was a couple $100, which at the time, I think I spent maybe $1,000 on like several sheets. So the shipping as a percentage, what they were worth then was like a lot, like 15, 20% maybe. If it's $200, $300, $400 to ship now, it might be 20, 30 grand in sheets, 40 grand. Like I don't even know exactly. So I guess it won't be that bad in the grand scheme of things to just ship them right, make sure they're going to get there okay. But they're just such a pain. Like I stress about selling it and then someone gets it with unrealistic expectations. Once you get into sheets that big, none of them are perfect. They all have some kind of issues here or there from being rolled up and unrolled, and you can't handle those things without doing something to them a little bit.
yeah.
But I do like them a lot. I like the idea of them, but I can't appreciate them because I don't have the space to put them up. Like maybe 1 or 2 I can have on walls somewhere. But beyond that, it's just like it's way too much.
Yeah, that's the problem with me too. I've got some really good ones up right here, but there's a lot of them that like I want to display, but I don't have the space for it right now. But any of those you don't want to send to PWCC. I mean, I can help you with that. I'm in the Facebook groups. I'm actually like pretty deep into the uncut sheet like space. You know, there's a couple people I've been in the DMs with. They're way more in it than I am, and they would. I mean, the stuff's pretty liquid. It's more liquid than you think. You know, the uncut sheets. There's a pretty good following for it, and they have some pretty heavy pockets. So yeah, that's another thing I could definitely move pretty well is uncut sheets. I've sold quite a few, and I own like 30 or 40. I mean, I know these are the smaller ones, not the best example. The rest are out of reach, but I'm pretty deep on the uncut sheets. So yeah, if you ever need some help with that, maybe I fly down and pick them up from you, so you don't have to deal with shipping or something and drive down or whatever.
I don't know how well they'd go on a plane though. That's part
No,
of it.
yeah, I mean fly down and then like you haul them back, get a rental car back. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, not on a plane. That sounds scary. But
yeah, I've just let those sit for so long because it's like I like these. They're so easy to handle
So
and
much
store
easier.
and ship. And
Yeah.
the slabs are a beautiful thing. Not really too fragile, high value density. Uncut sheets, they are valuable, but man, they are just they're big and hard to handle and hard
Scary
to
to handle. Scary. You feel like you're gonna damage them every time you touch them, especially on the really expensive ones. Like I'm like sweating, scared over like just handling this, getting it in a tube, and rolling it up. It can get pretty intense handling some of those when you're dealing with thousands of dollars, $10,000. They can get pretty expensive pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
Nick,
Especially
you
now.
have the fossil one, right? Or no?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I got that
thought
one
so.
right behind me over there.
I was pretty sure you did.
Yeah, I really like that one. That's one that I'll definitely hang on to. That's the only one that I got left. I would, and then the one that I got from Rusty, the Pog or whatever one I got. I would like to get the Machamp one. The unlimited base set Machamps. That would be one that I want to get still.
I've never owned that one, but yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of them. They're cool, but the market values them more than I do, and I can't experience them that well. Retro wants to know what's been selling well on lives. Everything. Consigned today.
Consigned today.
Your items will be selling well on eBay Live if you consign them with him.
Yes, exactly.
Your items will be doing very well. I can see it happening now.
Send them all.
Send them his way. Yeah.
Overall, light play, near mint, WotC hollows tend to always do well. And then XY to current modern Pokemon trainers, not so much, tend to do well. I've actually been having some lately within the past couple weeks. I've been having some mid-era hollow and reverse hollow lots, like Diamond and Pearl hollows, Heart Gold Soul Silver, stuff like that. I do like 5-card lots, lightly played condition, and those have been doing surprisingly well too. I was not expecting those to do well at all, because usually mid-era stuff does not do well through the lives. But these small lots of hollows are doing well for me. But yeah, there's so much variance, and you really don't know what's going to do well. Like last night, for example, if Grimer's still in here, Grimer won Neo Rev. It was a Neo Rev Delibird Hollow, first edition, near mint condition, and he won it for $20. Which I don't know what that sells for, but I would assume that's got to be a $40, $50 card. But then on the flip side of that, I sold it was the Espeon V Alt Art, which is like a $9,500 card on TCG Player. That one went for $125. So some stuff does really, really bad that I think is going to do well. Other stuff does really, really good. You just gotta average it all together, and you end up getting similar to what you would get on eBay.
And I think that's something people are really bad about. I think people are really bad about taking small sample sizes, individual data points, and like extrapolating.
Yeah.
Like they can watch 5 minutes of an eBay Live and think like, oh my God, I'm gonna get into eBay Live. I'm gonna make $1 million a year. I just saw this Nagaba that I can't sell for 40, buy it now, go for 80. I'm gonna be rich. And it's like, yeah, but that was a featured live, and that's not that repeatable. And it you skipped over the $50 card that went for $15 or vice versa. Like people will just extrapolate from very small sample sizes and try to run wild with the information.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot on my auctions too. There's a lot of times where I see cards go for 10, 20, $30, and it's like, man, I would buy that for that price. I'd rather just keep it. But then you get the really big sales, and it all does average out. It all, as long as your numbers work for you, it should all work and work itself out. And I mean, just take the ones that lost and learn from them. Maybe run them at a different day, different time, different format, or just keep sending them. I mean, keep making plays and do the best you can. But I mean, it leaves open for a lot of retail arbitrage. I mean, there's people who could be just sniping these $5, $10, $15, $20 slabs and making plays on them. I know I've had some Yu-Gi-Oh auctions where I had some really rough OTS Ultimate Rares that they all got PSA 8s because of the ulti foiling stamp, and they all went for less than raw value. Like, people literally could have just cracked those out and sold them to Troll and Toad buy list and made money. Like, there's a lot of retail arbitrage, a lot of people sleeping on these cheap auctions for sure. A lot of money to be made in that, and I mean, that's just part of the game. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some.
Yeah, and being aware of all the auctions going on, all the places, just bringing something from a suboptimal place and putting it on the optimal platform in the optimal slab, maybe at the right time. Like, there are people that do full time. I mean, we're 3 full timers. That some amount of what we do is just buying off this platform at like full market on that platform at that time, and making 10, 20, 30, 50%, selling it on a better one at a buy it now versus an auction or vice versa. Like, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. All
It
the
is.
inefficiencies, all the platform and geographical arbitrage, like the amount of people that bring stuff internationally, they have access to certain promos that we don't. All the people with the Van Gogh Pikachus at the Collecticon that I went to earlier this year, and then they're buying certain cards that just are in big demand where they're at. No one has them. No one has access to them. So they just they optimize. They go with a luggage full of what they have that we don't, and then they come back with like there's a lot of that stuff here, and there always will be because it's a very inefficient market. Like, I think year over year, all these big businesses moving in, and a lot of it's getting optimized, but it can never be fully optimized. It can't, like, people are trying. eBay Vault was an attempt at that, PSA Vault, all this and that. But there's always going to be opportunity to just act on those inefficiencies.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Definitely.
the market's just way too big for someone to come in and take complete control.
Yeah, retail arbitrage is huge, man. There's a lot of money to be made just selling things from one platform to another. Even Troll and Toad actually buys from me on TCG Player all the time because I mean, I guess I have actually sold an item on TCG Player and the buy list is actually paying more, and I didn't even notice it. I didn't catch it. I could have literally just sold it instantly on a buy list for more money than I would have made fulfilling it and shipping it myself in an individual order. And there's a lot of times that Troll and Toad will come in and just snipe all those at once. I used to have a program with one of the old employees for Troll and Toad that would do that for me, but that doesn't work anymore. But yeah, there's plenty of options for retail arbitrage. A lot of money to be made cracking slabs, selling them raw, selling them on TCG Player instead of eBay, selling them on TCG Player Direct instead of regular TCG Player. Even just that is arbitrage. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do suboptimally and make less money on your cards, or you can send them to somebody like us, where we probably know how to optimally sell them. Like that's one of the biggest things about my raw fulfillment consignment thing that I do with people. Like, fill up a box and ship them to me. Like, I can probably tell you the best place to sell these cards. I can tell you if I think it's worth grading these cards, selling them on TCG Player, selling them on TCG Player Direct, selling them on eBay, auctioning them, bulking them out. There's a lot of different ways to sell cards, and having somebody who knows what they're doing could definitely make you more money for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One thing that surprised me too with Troll and Toad Evo, I remember there being a time or two where I would have a card, and I did see, like, occasionally I would look at their buy list, and that there was that way within your Evo account you could actually direct the buy list. There were times where my net was lower than what they were buy listing for, and one thing that blew my mind, like say their buy list was 12, I had it listed at 15, and I was only going to net 11 from the sale. Why they didn't have it automatically just buy my card?
I thought the same thing. I was like,
net me out my 11. You would have paid 12 on the buy list. Like, I think they were working towards getting more of that integrated now that Evo is going to be done. Like, it doesn't matter. But the fact that optimization didn't exist within a platform, like the inventory is literally
it made no
there.
sense. Yeah, literally all you have to do is just transfer it from one account to the other. Like, market is sold.
Digitally transfer the number from my account to yours, and transfer me a few dollars, and then it's done and over with. And maybe they'd have a budget for that. Maybe they'd have, like, maybe they wouldn't want to buy everything that everyone had all at once because it would be $100,000 within one day. And you'd put limits on it. You'd put a budget to it, whatever. But it makes me think back. I don't know if you ever watched Sky. I think you did, Nick. Jake used to, with Zakil and Chris, do that Pocket Change podcast. Yeah. And I know, like, Chris, Wolf of Tin Street, talked a little bit about having, I wish I knew how to program. I wish I knew how to do all that stuff. He used to have a program that he'd basically feed it a budget, and it would, like, on TCG Player, he'd just, like, automatically buy cards from certain people, and then, like, buy list it to a DA Card World, or buy list it to ABU or whoever.
There's a lot of money to be made doing that.
Like, I wish I knew how to do the tech side of it, because as far as, like, the finance side of it, and that like I would have budget to put towards that, but I don't have the ability to have and even thinking about like on PWCC, on eBay, you would need to trust it. You would need to limit how much money you gave it and whatever. But if you could fully trust it, I mean, just going in and like, hey, use the all recent 5 sold listings as a basis and buy everything on PWCC at X percentage of that. If I could just click one button and it would go through thousands of listings and do that for me and set certain things. I don't want anything below $10 or maybe I only want things below $10. Like depending on who you are, what you want, if you're building mystery things, if you're just buying from there to buy it now on eBay. Like I guess if you're out there listening and you have those tools, hit me up. Let me know what it costs monthly. Let me know what the finances are behind that. And I've had several people hit me up with certain things about like listing quicker on eBay, pulling the photos, the scans from the website off the cert. And there's a lot of work being done in those spaces. But I think there's also a lot of room to go on that too. I think 10 years from now, and some of these things are good and some of these things are bad. And good and bad are very subjective, dependent on how you interact with the hobby. But again, the more barriers that are taken down, generally speaking, like resellers benefit from barriers being there. The more easily, the more automated all this stuff gets done. If a computer program run by some big company can just take all the margin, take all the plays away of platform arbitrage, that's generally not good for people making those plays, right? So
yeah. Yeah, no, I could imagine somebody making a full-time job out of just retail arbitraging cards from TCG Player to Troll and Toad and other platforms as buy list. Like, there's a lot of potential there. I saw when we had our Evo accounts and when we could log into the buy list, like, I saw so many times where I would have a card listed for 10, 20, 30 bucks, whatever the number it is, it doesn't matter. And they would pay 20, 30% more just to instant sell it to them. There's a lot of cards that I've actually sold on TCG Player that Troll and Toad was able to buy from me and have me ship it to them, and it was still worth it for them to buy it through their buy list. There's a lot of money to be made on those, and if somebody could figure it out and optimize it, they could make a full-time living out of it. I'm confident in that for sure. Yeah.
And I know Retro says making a good listing takes a minute tops. All the autolist programs I've seen aren't quite there yet. I think a lot of the companies, like I don't know exactly how it works, but I think PWCC has a video on their YouTube. They feed a hopper. I have a really tall stack of PSA over there I don't want to grab because it'll probably topple. But I think they just have a hopper that they feed. I don't know if it's 20 cards or 50 cards. They just put in a stack and then it like suction cups and it goes over and it does front scan, back scan. Mm-hmm. I mean, we know PSA, CGC. Occasionally you see the photos where the hand's in it. So like, I don't think PSA and CGC are as far along as I believe PWCC is with some of that. So it's like all these companies are thinking and working on these solutions. But I think within 5 years, like that Fujitsu scanner or whatever scanner you've got, I think there'll be programs that there already are today to some extent. But I think they'll be like very, very good. Maybe they need minor oversight. Maybe instead of a minute to list, maybe you do a 10-second to load a scanner, it scans it, and then maybe you need to spend 10 seconds to adjust X, Y, and Z to just verify that it's good to go. But like they will just scan this card, they'll pull off the cert number, off the barcode, they'll pull all the information from PSA's database, and they'll create the title per your own formula. Like you can say, I want this, I want this, I want this. Like eBay Vault already had that to some extent. A lot of these things are already partly underway, but I think in the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be a lot more fleshed out. Like assuming the market's still going well, assuming there's still a lot of money here, I think a lot more automation is definitely coming. Which again,
yeah,
some good, there's pros and cons to that. Some of that will take away certain people's plays and jobs and whatever, and it'll always just be about like adapting to the new reality.
Yeah, I could definitely see like you said, a suction thing that pulls a PSA. I could see like the magic sorter version of PSA cards where it suctions up the card, front and back scan. Maybe it uses some AI to auto input all the keywords into the listing, like just complete optimal, ready to go. The only thing you have to do is type in a price. Maybe it even does that for you. There is mass price. There are a lot of rules that can be run to do that.
Price automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And like ComC, basically look at some of the biggest operations in the hobby. I would love to see a video of the back end of ComC, how they work, because they have like 30 million, 40 million cards, and
how are they doing that?
Like Sky, I sent them maybe 1,000 cards from that same collection that I sent stuff to you. You would not have wanted to deal with this stuff. This stuff is super dark. Like, I tried Googling some of it myself.
Yeah.
I had no clue what they listed it all. I mean, it took months. They're a very slow process for their bulk, but like a lot of it's automated. I can tell because they have a process where you can like put in edits and request revisions because it's not perfect. It definitely misclassified a couple of my cards, but a lot of that stuff was not done entirely by humans. Like I think the vast majority of it was done actually like automated through some. But what exactly ComC has, like I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'd imagine they're running through a Fujitsu scanner, some kind of card scanner, getting front and back pictures, and then just using whatever AI they can to generate the title for it. I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of that too. The ComC does some crazy things. I think you sent your World of Warcraft loot cards to there, didn't you? I think I know somebody that bought one from you through ComC. So
yeah, I sent some to them. I sent like Power Ranger cards. Like every so often I'll get an email or a message from ComC saying this $5 Power Rangers card sold, this $15. Some of them I was selling $25-$30, and they actually have like an SRP, they call it, suggested retail price. A lot of the cards I sent didn't have one. But a lot they call it a ComC monopoly. If you're the only one who sent a given card, if you're like 80% of the cards I sent to ComC, I had a ComC monopoly. Like, that's they have 30 million, 40 million cards in inventory, and 80% of what I sent. So like I had like 800 ComC monopolies. So
yeah. That would have been the entire buddy fight too. Like I had to, when I got that stuff from you, I had to check Terapeak's last 3 solds just to see if those cards had any price data anywhere at all. Because a lot of those, you have to just make up numbers on some of those things, you know?
Like people ask, what's the price of this? There's no market price. It's like whatever you put out there. A lot of these Power Rangers cards, like you search on eBay, there are not only are there no sales in the past 90 days, there's no listings, there's nothing. You look at Search Tempest, you look at this and that, there's nothing. So it's like $5. I would take $5 for this. Yes. So
yeah.
And then someone pays it. So yep, that one is worth $5.
Yeah.
Like if someone has 5 of them and they want to action that $5 price, are there 5 other people in the world that want that for $5?
True.
Probably not. So like comps mean genuinely nothing. If someone's got the next one and they want 50 for it, maybe they'll get it, maybe they'll never get it. Like it's just all arbitrary. And I guess in the more niche, in the more extreme things like that, you really find out those things are true. Whereas in Pokemon, we're very spoiled on the depth of the market.
Yeah.
But we are getting close to the end here. We're coming up on 3 hours. I'll say it one last time, probably. SKYA, his information's down in the description below. Feel free to reach out to him if you're looking to consign any stuff. Instagram, YouTube below. Anything you guys want to cover that we didn't cover? Anything else coming up soon? Anything else going on your mind?
No, I think we covered about everything.
Sounds like I'll be at Collecticon in what'd you say, Denver in October? Is that what you said?
Chicago.
Sorry, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Chicago. I heard October. That's all that mattered. Yeah.
Chicago is October 12th to 13th.
Chicago. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I believe I will be there. As long as Dan will be there, I'll make that one happen. So if you want to see me in person there, definitely let me know. Other than that, just I mean, I've already said it a few times now, but if you have any cards lying around, ship them to me, and I'll help you make some money. I'll get them graded if there needs to be graded plays. I'll sell them on TCG Player, sell them on TCG Player Direct, sell them on eBay, bulk them out, buy list it. I mean, I can optimize your cards. So if you got stuff lying around, send them to me and let's make some money together. And other than that, Brett's Card Shop on eBay, SKYAThatOneGuy on TCG Player and YouTube. And really appreciate Dan and Nick for letting me on. It's been an honor. I've been wanting to be on one of these for a while now. I don't know when I first started watching, a few years now, 1.5 years, but yeah, it's really cool to be here. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming on. It's been a good chat. Always good to get different perspectives, and probably almost nobody that's watching at this point because we had an even lesser view count then. But SKYA actually made a face reveal a few months ago on my channel on one of my late night old school RuneScape streams. So SKYA is my is my TOA instructor on Old School RuneScape. So
Yep.
maybe someone out there thought like that guy looks a little familiar. I can't place him, but he looks a little familiar. Maybe you recognize him from when he hopped on late night with me and taught me a little bit of Tombs of a Mascot.
Yeah. This is my second time being on actual face reveal camera. First time was on Dan's late night stream, so probably nobody saw it, ORS. But we were playing some old school RuneScape.
3 viewers in there.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. Yeah, but no, I mean this is
video, and I mean the retention was probably miserable, but I think it had like 400 views on it. So
that's good.
There might have been 5 or 6 people that got to watching it in the video later on too. to think that some amount of people watch my Old School RuneScape streams as they happen is kind of dark. But then to think that people go back and watch it later on, I don't know if that's better or worse. But like at least they could be 2x, I guess theoretically. But yeah, I don't know if that's better or worse.
Man, I mean, my YouTube likes to just feed me your videos. Honestly, dude, if I'm sitting there shipping, I got a 6-8 hour workday ahead of me. I'm not changing YouTube videos. I'm playing whatever it's playing. So I mean, I've probably there's some of your videos that YouTube's just had me watch like 5 or 10 times. So I might be part of the people who've watched your OSRS stream multiple times after it's happened. But yeah.
I saw a stream. Dan lost when he thought he would win. 10 out of 10, loved it. that was during leagues when I got defeated by Zuck going for that was actually my other. So I've got like 2 Old School RuneScape like teachers, mentors, whatever. That was Tayflosion actually that helped me through the because you didn't do leagues, but that was Tayflosion that helped me through the leagues Inferno attempts. 400 views on a RuneScape video is Dan the PokeRev of RuneScape.
Love it.
Oh,
hey, man. I know a little off topic. I mean, I had PokeRev. If you look at my YouTube channel from however many years ago, I actually did a small collab with PokeRev before he was big. I bought a bunch of his Yu-Gi-Oh stuff off of his eBay, and I told him like, is it okay if I make a video out of this? And he's like, yeah. And he left a really cool note in there. And in the YouTube video, I say like, this PokeRev guy's got 800 subscribers. He's really coming up. I think this guy's going to go big places. And then now you look at him, and I don't even know what his subscribers. It's like 1 million or something. I don't even know, man. But
2 million, isn't it?
Yeah, over 2 million.
Something crazy. But man, I was doing deals with him back when he had no subscribers, dude.
You're the reason he's so big.
No. I'm just saying. I'm glad that I got in and got some of his Yu-Gi-Oh stuff and got to talk to him before. I mean, I don't even know accessing him now.
Don't be so modest. SKYAThatOneGuy built PokeRev. He made
man,
the empire that he is.
Yeah, no, that was not what I was pushing at all. But yeah, we can run with that, sure. No, it was really cool. He had a lot of really good Yu-Gi-Oh stuff when he first started selling on eBay. Like he did that buyout of a card store, and he listed like all the Yu-Gi-Oh first. So I really got a lot of plays from that card store that he bought out. It was really cool. A lot of really good stuff. Duelist League promos, a lot of old super niche stuff that you don't find very often.
Someday we'll have to see if we can get him on here too, because we'll have to ask him. Hey, do you remember when SKYAThatOneGuy?
Yeah,
I still have his handwritten card right here. I have his handwritten card. I have Z&G. Dude, look at this, dude. You see this? Z&G and Cam. Autograph, dude. Piece of history, bro. Z&G and Cam together. This was like peak Pokemon. That was before the breakup, dude. This is like one of one, like peak, dude. I need to get Dan to send me one of these signed, or maybe send me one of your MetaZoo things signed or something. I need something from Nick. Maybe I need to buy from Nick on one of his live streams and have him sign it. I've got a Pokemon streamer bunch of stuff up here. Yeah, I've got PokeRev, I've got Z&G, Cam. I need to get an actual autograph from Dan, but yeah, I mean I've got a list of stuff growing here.
Do you think Dubsy watches this for knowledge? I would lean towards no, but you can't be sure. I mean, maybe Dubsy was watching me play RuneScape too. Like, you never know. Maybe PokeRev, Dubsy.
I'm sure.
I think James did hop into my live chat a time or two during RuneScape stream, so I'm fairly sure that he at least saw part of it to troll and chat a little bit. So
yep.
But Yeah, I actually just heard the family get home, so it's time for the weekend to start. As always, very much appreciate everyone hanging out. Go bid in Nick's eBay live streams. Go consign with SKYA. Go hit him up. Follow him. Guide him through some future YouTube topics to cover in videos,
Yeah.
and maybe Nick too. He probably won't bring another video to us, but we can try.
I think it's safe to say YouTube's officially dead.
Fully retired. Fully retired.
I think so. I think so.
I think so too, but we'll see. Maybe we can get him back there. But yeah, very much appreciate everyone hanging out. We will catch you all later.
See you later.